All right, boys. You're gonna have to forgive me a little bit. Let's see if I remember how to do this stuff. Anyone else feel like the Path of Exile music, at least one of the songs, I don't remember which song it was that was playing on the live stream, anyone feel like it's like slightly corrupted? Like there's some like weird glitchiness and weird noises going on, and thank you as well for the sub bugs. I'm gonna be getting new everything for stream, I just haven't done it yet because, you know, reasons. All right, boys, without further ado, let's begin. What's up, gamers? It has been 50 days, 55 days, maybe, since my last stream. Something like that, like almost 2 months. I know the league got like delayed again.
Yes, Daddy.
Yo, Czar, thank you for the Prime for 1 month and 11 months actually. Make sure that you pat ducks in the chat. Appreciate you. That still works. My brain still knows how to say that line. Santa coming early this year. Yeah, dude, you like it? I got lazy and decided that if I can't have hair on my head, this is like the most hair that you'll ever see on my head. Yo, Jaguar, thank you for the 1 month for 13 months. The tier 1, appreciate you, gamer. Since I can't have hair on my head, I'm gonna have hair on my face, okay? That's the play, boys. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. So there's a couple things that happened off stream. I gotta pull them up. First thing I want to talk about. I'm gonna have to move my camera here. Let's talk about this interview. So they released this like PC gamer interview, right? Yo, Blake, thank you.
How is
Appreciate
Triple
you.
G gonna afflict us this time?
43 months, dude. They're gonna afflict us. They're gonna afflict us by not giving us a Gladiator rework. And saying Gladiator got reworked before, guys. What are you talking about? It's been reworked this entire time. What's wrong with you? What are you talking about, dude? I don't know what you're talking about, man. All right, let's see here. Yo, what's up, yay? It's been a while. It has been a while, dude. You missed mine. Thank you for the sub. Bugs. I thought I said something. 32 months. Make sure that you pet ducks in the chat. It was before I was ready, okay? I'm not good at this anymore, okay? You're gonna have to like forgive the rust, okay? We're like 50. Okay. Okay, Mr. Eloquent Dumb. Thank you for deleting that so I don't have to. Appreciate you. What the duck doing? Vlad is getting reworked. Bleed Explosion turns into 25 dex 25 inch. True, dude. Wait for Gladiator to become a Ruthless Ascendancy. True, man. Ruthless Ascendancy will probably be better than the actual Ascendancy is now. Anyways, let's talk about this. So I watched the let's see, PC Gamer PoE 2. Is the video out for it? If you missed this, we can watch this first. I'm gonna mute the PoE stream. I got 30 minutes. This is a big old nothing burger, if I'm gonna be real with you.
Crashlands 2 drops onto Steam in 2024. At number 9 on the most wanted is the product of a simple design philosophy. If you look hard enough, you can always find somewhere to put another skill tree, even if you end up making a second game in the process. Warm up that left mouse button because we're about to show you some Path of Exile 2. We traveled all the way to New Zealand to speak with the team, climbing the highest mountains to visit their studio in Auckland.
What's with that beard? Oh, hey, dude.
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Number 9.
Yo, Chuckle.
Path of Exile 2.
Appreciate the 23 months. I don't know where to put you guys, to be honest with you. I'm gonna put you here for now. It's the most out of the way that I can find.
It seems the old ways still hold some power.
I'm getting ready for my Guardian cosplay, okay? Look, dude. I'm almost there. I just need a couple more years to get the hair the right color, okay? You see? I'm almost there, dude. Look. That's me, basically, right? I just need a couple more years for the hair to get the right color, okay? And then we're good. And we're good, dude. My hair started graying when I was like 22, so we'll get there one day. But yeah, this was kind of nothing, but that's a cool fucking statue, man.
Path of Exile 2 is basically our next generation action RPG. And one of the things we really wanted to make sure that we were doing with it is to make the action combat really, really excellent. We just want to make sure that anyone playing the game, you know, you can play it like an action game, feels fun to play. You know, we've added things like dodge rolls and like canceling, things like that.
I was saying this on Discord. By the way, if you guys want to like interact more with me in general, since I'm not like streaming as much, as you guys probably saw in the announcement, I'm in Discord a lot. So if you're interested in hearing my dog shit takes all the time, you can go on Discord. But boys, I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but this interface looks straight out of like 1999 to me. Like, do you guys feel the same way? Like the PoE 2 interface looks like they're just like, yo, you know what looked really good? Diablo 2's interface from like the 90s, bro. That's what this interface feels like to me. Like, just like look at it. It just looks,
and it just means that the game just feels a lot better than
it just looks ugly,
as well as everything else that you'd expect from a sequel to Path of Exile.
It just looks
One thing
ugly.
in particular that sets Path of Exile apart is obviously the depth, but in the itemization systems, crafting systems, but also the sheer number of quantity of
ugly,
monsters,
I hope they change
counters.
it.
Like, we have over a decade of content that is going
Really
to
hope
be
they change
available
it.
in Path of Exile 2 as well.
Appreciate all the subs, by the way.
Or Path of Exile 2,
Thank you.
we really want to
For all the
keep
support for me coming
mechanics
back.
from Path of Exile 1 that are great, but we can now have the opportunity to
Appreciate
rebuild
you,
them or
boys.
restructure them in a way that is easier to understand and much more accessible for someone
know
coming at
somebody
it for
cares
the
about me.
first time, and keep that depth there, either hidden away or much more natural to understand.
I think there's a big difference between depth and complexity. Path of Exile 2 in some ways
Holy
is less
shit.
complicated than Path of Exile 1 because we've simplified
I
the
think
sort
the
of technical complexity around doing things
chat
like the way you socket
is not
skills and things
showing
like that
YouTube,
to make
but
it easier
I'm
to
gonna fix that
understand. But at the same
soon-ish. I'm gonna
time,
use a
we're
different
making sure
chat,
that we
but
keep all the depth in terms of
as of
character
right now,
options and things that you can do. So
it's not
everything
fixed,
is still
boys.
there as far as like what can I do to build my character.
Oh.
It's just that
Oh,
it is
yeah,
easier
yeah,
to
yeah.
do so because you don't.
So here, look.
Everything is still
This
there. as
portion
far as,
right
like,
here, you
what
see
can
this guy moving like that? They actually confirmed WASD movement is going to be an option. Like, actually, unironically confirmed. Where is it? Yeah, it's like unironically confirmed, dude. Path of Exile 2 will support WASD movement, allowing players to directly control their exile rather than point where they want them to go. There's going to have both. It's going to be WASD as well as point and click. Imagine trying to loot while playing with WASD, by the way. Good luck with that. I won't be doing it.
I do to build my character.
yes,
It's just that it is easier
thank
to
you,
do so
Jeepers.
because you don't have to
Appreciate
be
you for the
worrying, for
31
example,
months.
about when you're changing your items that you're going to break the way your skills are working and things like that. So I think that actually new and regular players can tolerate a lot of depth. It's the complexity that we want to try and avoid. The dodge roll
I'm
actually
fine with
came
that.
about because
Like,
we really wanted to be able.
I'm okay with the complexity thing. I get what they're trying to do, right? I do. Oh God, let's not have Jonathan's face look like that on the screen. I get what they're trying to do with it, right? Like, I do like the depth of Path of Exile, but some of the complexity seems needless. I like the idea. Hopefully, the implementation is okay, but you know.
The dodge roll actually came about because we really wanted to be able to find a way to having some skills that took longer to do than other skills. But the problem with that is that
Multi-strike,
skills
anybody?
feel really terrible if you start them and then you can't get out of them. So we really needed a way to make that interruption
Spell
be
Echo?
possible, and the dodge roll was a really great
Spell
way to do
Echo
it.
definitely.
We actually already had a philosophy for Path of Exile 2 boss design where we wanted to make sure that
The only fix that Spell Echo needs is you just need to be able to move in the middle of it. That's it. That's all it needs. I don't need to be able to do a dodge roll. Just let me stop in the
everything was
middle of the
dodgeable.
casting.
But previously we were just doing that by running around. But I think the dodge roll has actually changed a lot of things, and especially because, you know, now that you can expect a
roll in
player to be able
PoE
to do
1
that,
win?
it means that we
We
can
have the
have the
bingo yet?
expectation and the
I
balance
haven't
as
made a
well.
bingo.
We've done fresh design on everything. We've taken some elements from
If
PoE
someone
1
wants to
in terms
make
of
a halfway decent
monsters,
bingo,
specific
probably
monsters,
yay.
and
We'll
brought them
look at
over
it.
and kind of because they were fun to play. Like, why not replicate something that is still fun to play? But of course, it's full fresh coat of paint. There are definitely new systems. I'd say a lot of the monsters are faster, for example, which is where
yeah,
dodge roll
faster.
helps to come into play.
What we need,
have
dude.
secondary AI systems that allow the monsters to do skills while they were performing another skill, much like how a player can
Yo, Yo, Chat GPT is going to be playing for the enemy team in Path of Exile now. They have like double the AI. Oh no, dude. Watch out, man. How many fingers are they going to have on their hands, dude? I don't know how I feel about that, because like the last time I remember them putting some kind of like intelligent AI weirdness in the system is Hailrake, and Hailrake is like one of the most jarring bosses in the entire
roll
game.
To interrupt a skill, a monster can now do the same thing. We have a lot more monsters doing interactions with the environment. They'll interact with the world more, a lot more spawning from things, a lot more like in one of our areas, the Isle of Kin, we have
So you mean the worst part of PoE 1? Guys, he said that they're going to have minions and enemies interact with the environment. You know what's one of the worst, the most annoying and worst feeling enemies in the game? Is when the goats jump down from the cliffs on top of you and kill you instantly. That's going to be all the monsters in PoE 2, dude. I'm excited.
monsters riding on top of another monster, and then when they get close, they all jump off.
There's a lot of design changes that have had to go on
Get this baby off my screen. I'll let you see it for now. Get the baby off my screen, dude. I don't want to see that
completely different than
shit.
bows. You know, if you look at a shooter, it's like pistols and shotguns and things like that. Like, what about those makes them different from each other? And so therefore, it makes the whole experience just feel so different than what a bow feels like now. You know, you want that like pull the trigger and it instantly fires. You know, that kind of instant response type of thing. And I think that as we approach each different character class, we're thinking like, how can we make the skills here feel so different than every other class?
For a lot of
Can I just say, imagine gifting subs to the main PoE stream. What are you
almost
doing, dude?
basically guns. There's a lot of work that's been done on other games
yeah,
to make
PoE2 has
those
a
feel
Steam
great
page.
that we had the opportunity to bring into Path of Exile. And there's a lot of
If you wanna
lessons
go look at
of
that.
what works well in a shooter that
Can you take a picture
work
of him,
well
Ye, so I
in
can
an
show him?
RPG.
I don't
If
wanna
you
log into
do the
Steam,
work,
fuck
get the
that.
animations right, get the timing right. We've done a lot of core system changes to make it so that it feels like you've got as much control as you would in a shooter-focused game. There's a lot of what have other games done well that we can bring into Path of Exile that no ARPG is really built on, because they don't have the crazy level of skill variety that we ended up having.
So we've got a live stream later today where we're going to be showing off two of our character classes. We're really deep diving into the mechanics, and we're really excited to show that. So if you're interested to know more about Path of Exile 2, then tune into that later today.
The old magics, not to be feared.
All right, so that's the trailer. Hey, that's the video you guys are watching right now. Pog. That's the trailer. What is this? 16 gigabytes of RAM, 8 core, 3.6 gigahertz, 2060, 56, 100 gigabytes. Hold up. 100 gigabytes? Hold up 1 second. I'm gonna I'm gonna real quickly go into my file folder and see how big the current PoE is. Where is my PoE? Grinding Gear Games, Path of Exile. Path of Exile. 45 gigs. 46 gigs. It's going up slowly. 46 gigs. 47, 48. It's rising, dude. All right, 47.9 is where it landed. I probably shouldn't have that open. My fucking phone link to Windows, that's not something I should have open. Don't need you guys looking into my fucking cell phone. Yeah, it's like, all right, here we go. It's like 47.9 gigs right now. So PoE 2 confirmed is going to be like 130 by the time we actually get it. Yo, what's up, Zoltak? How's it going, gamer? Required space isn't installed size. Hopefully. Get some more creepy music. Alright. Anyways, let's look at this. So this is the interview, right? This is the interview that they did with PC Gamer. Oh, that music's a tiny bit loud. I need you to not be louder than me, okay? Thanks. Just some background music. Since the dawn of time, or probably for a while at least. Can I just say, for anybody who did watch, Can anybody for anybody who did watch the PC Gamer thing? I know cringe sells these days, but it's actually painful. It's physically painful to me when the writing that they used in. All right, let's see. Dodge roll they already talked about. I haven't read through this yet. Dodge roll, yeah, they talked about that in the video. Rebuilding builds. They should have WASD controls for all our characters, as well as point and click to move. People were like, what are you doing? We can't change that. Sure they were. It's a big difference between depth and complexity. They talked about that as well. Is there anything new in here? Everything is still there as far as what I do to build my character. It's just that it's easier to do because you don't have to be worrying, for example, that you're changing your items, you're going to break the way your skills are working and things like that. Are you so angry today? I'm not angry. I'm a little out, like, cringed out by the PC Gamer stream. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's anything new in here. Roberts, whose 3D crafting impressed grinding gear so much they employed him in QA before he eventually climbed the ranks to game director. Fucking Neon, man. Players feel like they must do something because it has a clear advantage. I'd say that feels like a failure on our end. Ideally, there are many options and many ways to accomplish a thing. To be good at the game, to be able to complete pinnacle content, to complete whatever your standard of achievement or success in the game is, there should be many ways of doing that, not just one option. PoE 1 sure doesn't feel like that sometimes. There was a situation on I think there was a situation on Discord recently where a new player came in and they were like playing the game and they weren't using auras, and they're like, I feel like I'm doing pretty good without auras, like I don't need them, right? And I'm like, no dude, you have to have auras. Like that's like one of the strongest set of abilities in the game, dude. WASD will be fine, but the problem that I think is going to happen with WASD is going to be looting. Looting is going to feel real bad. Yo, what's up, Psycho Killer? I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Okay, we're gonna watch the announcement. We got 16 minutes until the announcement. Gonna watch the announcement, we're gonna look at the patch notes, and then I'm gonna get back to making videos. Okay, what's up, Mace? How's it going, gamer? 16 minutes and 10 seconds, boys. But yeah, I'm not in a genre that struggles to escape the long shadow of Diablo 2 and all the orthodoxies that entails. Path of Exile 2 could prove to be a genuine disruption. Huh? It's literally GGG is just trying to make Diablo 2 though, man. Like, come on. When is reveal? 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Yo, what's up, Beatrice? Yeah, I don't know about this. I don't know about this PC Gamer writing, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not exactly feeling it. All right, let's look here. Let's just see. pathofexile.com/affliction. Is this up yet? The resources you are looking for. The resource you're looking for does not exist or has been removed. Unlucky, dude. Yo, what's up, Excife? Hope they do absolute WASD. I guess we'll see. I'll throw this on screen for now. We got 15 minutes, boys. All right, ads are off, right? I ran ads a while ago. Yeah, I think they're off for a while. Introducing stories on Twitch. Partners and affiliates who have had at least one stream in the last 30 days can post stories through the new Twitch mobile app feature. Oh my God. Yo, Twitch is like literally 6 years behind everyone else. Stories? Most social media platforms have added and removed stories by this point. I think you actually fixed the colors on your stream. That's cool because I didn't do anything. I actually did nothing. So that's cool, dude. I'm glad they're fixed, Pog. Where is the spoon? I don't have the spoon, dude. I told you. I've got the fork here. I kept the fork. I didn't put it in the kitchen yet. But I don't have the spoon, dude. I'm sorry. I do not have the spoon. But yeah, WASD will probably be cool, but I feel like it's gonna be gonna be a little rough looting with WASD, if I had to guess. It is going to be a little bit rough looting. Ultimatum returns. Oh, I guess we can make a bingo. Is there a better bingo creation? Bingo card generator. Can I buy you this poster for your back wall? Yo, okay, here's the thing, okay? Let me get a Displate sponsorship, and then we'll put this on, we'll get a Displate of it, and then I can make money off of it, okay? Easy. Let's see. Make your own bingo cards. Bingo Baker. I think this is the one we normally use, right? Bingo Baker. All right. 3.23 Affliction Bingo. All right, we all know what's in the middle. Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Okay. Flashbang true. All right. Middle is Ruthless? No. Ruthless, patch notes. That's definitely one. Drops are always enabled. You'll get them. Let's see. Combs nerf is a good one. Combs hands chopped off. All right. Let's see. What else? Do you think they'll nerf poison? Sanctum loot fix. Sanctum dumpstered. Okay. That's good. Bow builds? I don't actually know that bow builds will get nerfed. The thing about bow builds is that they're good. I could see Mana Forge getting changed. I've actually been practicing with Mana Forge, and it is really strong. If you guys didn't see on Twitter, Sentinel is confirmed not going into the game as Sentinel. I gotta find it. What's Nick's, what's his Twitter? It's without a G out, right? Yeah, here. This is the new community manager. 13,595 words, Control F Sentinel 0. This means two things. One, Sentinel's probably not coming back as is. Recombinators might, but Sentinel is not coming back as is. And this also means that the Guardian Sentinel is probably not getting changed. It means both of those things. So we already kind of know that. Heat Shiver? Oh yeah, Heat Shiver destroyed. 13k is a lot of shit, one of the longest we've had. I wonder if we're gonna get I wonder if we're gonna get an expansion. They've kept it really close to the chest if we're getting like a full expansion, dude. Let's see. Leveling nerfed is probably one that could happen. No shot Guardian Sentinel gets changed? I don't think so either. Poison nerf's probably one. League mechanic is a circle. Steel skills nerfed somehow. Ah yes, let's put this in here. Molten Strike nerfed. Not Guardian, Gladiator rework. Raider rework. Assassin rework. Oh yeah. The two new in-game bosses. I think it's gonna be 2 or 4. New influences. New skill gems. What else? Yo, SK Plays, thank you for the 14 months.
That's a lot of months.
That is a lot of months, dude. Champion and Slayer changed. Champion changed. Champion, what, reworked? Ah yeah, Bone Shatter nerf. Bone Shatter remains unchained. Unchained? Unchanged. I believe in Bone Shatter, dude. Tornado Shot. Oh yeah, Tornado Shot nerf. That could happen, actually. Let's get bleed rework. I think bleed rework could be good. I'd like to see bleed get something. LA gets nerfed for tornado shot. I doubt it, actually. I don't think lightning arrow is that egregious, if I'm gonna be real with you. Oh yeah, snipe obliterated. That shit's not, that shit's not making it through. That shit's not making it through, absolutely not. Let's see, what else? Does anybody have the video? Does anybody have that, I've got Sanctum dumpstered here. Does anybody have the video from Rucord of the snipe? What's it called? Oh yeah, Pathfinder. Pathfinder dumpstered. I already used dumpstered. Annihilated? Oh shit. Annihilated. Is this the video? It downloaded it. Look at this shit, dude. Look at this. Like this is getting removed from the game. There's no way that it's not. Like look at it, bro. Like what is this, dude? Like holy shit, man. Very normal and fair mechanic that will definitely not get nerfed. Intended use of game mechanics. Harvest, I don't think Harvest is getting changes. Crafting nerfed, maybe? Crafting nerfed again. We have new skill gems. I need 3 more. How much time do we have? 7 minutes? That's enough. New Atlas tree. Did I put ultimatum in? Ultimatum returns. Yeah, ultimatum surely comes back. Oh yeah, lightning warp triggered. 1 more. Zana is back. Atlas Masteries. All right, are any of these bad? Hey, what's up, Nexus? Are any of these bad? Sanctum dumpstered, Combs hands chopped off. I'm gonna shuffle it. I'm gonna shuffle it. Sanctum dumpster. Bone Shatter 1 is meh. Yeah, because we know this is gonna happen, huh? Atlas Masteries. Alright. I don't think Raider will get reworked. Listen, we can't make it so that every single bingo square gets taken, okay? Some of these have to be like things that will never happen, okay? Some of these have to be unobtainable, right? Some of these have to be unobtainable.
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Yo,
Bearded
Sar,
ducks
thanks for the
president.
16. Appreciate you, gamer. Make sure to pet Duckless in the chat. Man, I feel the hype again. You always feel the hype before the announcement stream, dude. This is the one time that you do feel the hype, okay? It's after the announcement stream that we come back down to earth and we're like, huh. They didn't rebalance the skill gems. There's 5 new abilities and 1 of them is good. Everything is still the same. Oh, minions. Yeah, minions. What do I want to change for minions? I actually think, crafting probably won't get nerfed again. Minions buffed. Do you have any favorite movies? I actually don't really like movies that much. Change the snipe one. This one is like guaranteed, but people don't even know about this one, so yeah, probably not worth. Here's mine. Let's yoink some things here. Poison nerf, no sentinel, glad, heist nerf. Melee stays the same, true, dude. Log in. Rallykesh nerf, harbinger nerf. Do I have recombinators? We can change snipe to recombinators. Mentioned. How about that? Okay. If there isn't an Affliction page, that means it's an expansion. Well, it's not there yet. It wouldn't be available until things go live, right? 3 minutes, 50 seconds. Okay, I think this is good, right? I think this is good enough that we can make in 10 minutes. Okay. Ad break? I think I already did one, but I can do another one, yeah. We'll run 3 minutes of ads since we got 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm running ads right now. Go get a drink, do whatever you gotta do. I'll run 3 minutes of ads and we'll be right back so that we don't get them during the actual announcement. Beerby. Alright, let me get this going. I have to generate. What do I have to click? Print? Oh, there we go. Open image in new tab. Okay, I've got that. Hold on. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay. Yo, paint sucks, man. What is this shit? Alright. Alright, we have our bingo. It's here. It's gonna be off screen though. They have ads, YouTube Premium. Look like I made the right choice. True, dude. Paint not at its best. I literally only use Paint for this one thing. This is it. This is the only thing I use Paint for ever. Yo, Psycho
yes,
Killer.
Daddy.
Thank you for the 19 months. Appreciate you, gamer. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Yo, and Neo Gramps for 10 months. Hype is true, dude. Thank you, thank you. Make sure to pet ducks in the chat. If you are wanting to sub or do anything else or have your name show up in lights on the screen, you're gonna need to do it now because I'm turning them off when the announcement starts. I'll leave chat so that you guys can still interact and we can still have the hype. I'll leave chat there. However, announcements are getting turned off. Okay. You hit 200k? What's it at? 80k. This is 80,000. This is 80,920 viewers. That's what it says for me, at least. $84,000 viewers. When do patch notes come out after stream? Patch notes happen after the interview with Ziggy. How big of an announcement have we had reason to expect? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm genuinely not sure. All right, I am turning Stream Elements off. Stream Elements is getting turned off. No more announcements. None. 0. We're going into Stone Ages mode here. So we got 30 seconds. 200k viewers on the Path of Exile category. Oh, the Path of Exile category is always pretty big, but I go by like the viewers on the mainstream. 200k is pretty decent, but this is pretty much stock standard. This is the big December league though, so you gotta hope that it's something huge. All right, boys, here we go. Turn it up a little bit so that you guys can hear it.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thanks for joining us for today's Path of Exile livestream. We have a packed show today, with announcements for Path of Exile 2, as well as the exclusive unveiling of Path of Exile Affliction, which launches on December 8th on PC and Mac, and on December 13th on console.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's
They didn't say
livestream, so
anything
make
about a
sure you
league.
follow the
They just
instructions
said
below
Affliction.
in order to claim your Huntsman wings. We'll start with Path of Exile 2, where Jonathan will walk you through our latest announcements. Mark will then take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Affliction Challenge League, which launches in 1 week. He'll cover the League mechanics, its rewards, some new content we're adding to the core Path of Exile experience, and some large metagame changes. I'll then show you our annual core supporter packs, and we'll head into our live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask us your questions from Twitch chat. After the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes.
I'd like to hand over to Jonathan Rogers, Game Director of Path of Exile 2.
Hey guys, it's been a few months since we introduced you to the Druid in Path of Exile 2. But one of the things that we're really focusing on now is how varied each of the classes feels to play. The Monk darts around quickly from enemy to enemy, building and unleashing combos. If he doesn't stay in combat, he loses momentum and has to build it up again.
Saw this.
The Warrior, on the other hand, is like a slow but unstoppable freight train. A warrior commits to big attacks and relies on stunning his enemies to stay safe in the thick of combat. When an opening presents itself, a warrior can use even larger attacks to demolish his enemies.
Damn, look at those auras, dude.
The Huntress seamlessly moves from melee to ranged combat and back. The true damage potential of the Huntress is only unlocked when you learn to combine ranged and melee abilities together.
Range and melee, dude? I don't know about that, man.
And then there are the Spellcasters. The Sorceress is a pure caster who much prefers to stay at range and drop powerful spells on her foes. If she finds herself surrounded by enemies, she would rather use an ability to escape than to take them on directly.
Where's that escape ability then? Could he use one right there,
The Druid
dude?
is also a spellcaster, but unlike the Sorceress, he uses his spells as a means to support his melee abilities. And by melee abilities, we mean he can turn into a giant animal and rip his enemies to
Make it a little
pieces.
smaller.
Each of these classes feels extremely different to play, but we want to go even further. It's time to check out the Mercenary.
Alright, let's see
There's not a
it.
job out there I won't take, so long as the pay's good and a crossbow can solve it.
World War I game. Bro. Yo, they're learning. Did you guys see that? They only showed the last little killing shot.
Bolt at a time.
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others. For the Mercenary, that difference is the crossbow. A crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow because it fires instantly instead of needing to be drawn back. This means that you need immediate feedback. Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly, just like in a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them.
Oh no.
In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles.
Bro.
But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay, we wanted to go further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now walk around in any direction independent of aiming.
How do you make an
In
assault
fact, if this is your
crossbow?
preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using. You can change between click to move or WASD at any time.
Duffy, whip that thing out, dude.
You can only hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is all about interesting combinations of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in.
Oh no, not ammo, dude.
This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very
Armor-piercing
effective when
bolts.
facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Bloody horrors!
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger single target, it might be a good idea to switch to incendiary.
Incendiary
The more
bolts.
projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite.
Yo, he's
so
not
you'll
saying
want
the
to get
name
up
of the bolts,
nice,
though.
close and personal with this one. If you have a bunch of targets running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to permafrost burst shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place. Once you have some frozen enemies though, you can switch back to armor piercing. Shooting a frozen enemy with armor piercing burst shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies.
It looks okay. Looks pretty cool.
Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. as you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
That's actually really cool. They're cooking, dude.
These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them with some kind of crowd control, like permafrost burst shot.
Permafrost burst shot is a mouthful, dude.
We have other grenades too though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
Literally put flashbangs in the game, dude. Unironically, like a World War I simulator, dude. Like, what's going on, man?
Now, here's another attachment, an oil grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic.
Finally, we get oil too instead of just the tar zombies. Now set the oil on fire. Come on, incendiary bolts. Come on.
Now, another thing that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy or explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage. One of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage. But thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon.
Bolts, dude.
This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running. In Path of Exile 2, we now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while moving. Being able to create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space and allows us to really increase the pace of combat.
Cyclone crying in the corner, dude.
The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage.
Sounds tedious.
Being able to run while shooting with Rapid Shot is also great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
Reload! He even yells reload.
Using permafrost ammo with Rapid Shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals. If you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, chilling the monsters. It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack.
Yeah, dude, I mean, literally it just seems
Slowing
like they're
enemies
making
down can come in handy
Call
if
of
you want to
Duty
use the
type game in here.
incendiary version of Rapid Shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires, but as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage.
This is the first thing we've seen.
It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch.
Yo, it's on fire, dude. It should be melted. What are you doing?
Now I've been using explosive grenades here, but it will work equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
I mean, this looks cool. Well, PoE 2 in general is slower. You just expect things to feel slower. I mean, it doesn't look like he's getting annihilated by the enemies.
Another crossbow
here, though,
type that you can find is Power Shot.
compared to like what
This
was
one
happening
works
in the
just like a
previous,
classic
like,
sniper
Exile
rifle.
clone.
Use it with armor-piercing ammo and it will penetrate armor on targets. So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Back down or die!
Yo, I saw him mouse over
Now
that
this
item
skill
there.
has another interesting interaction with armor break.
Come on, press
If an
Z.
enemy has its armor broken, then your Power Shot hits a weak spot and does a huge amount of single target damage, with a bunch of extra stun for good measure. The incendiary version of Power Shot is more like a rocket launcher. It does a big explosive blast at a distance. One of the really useful features of this version is that you can explode any grenades that happen to be on the ground.
We're getting into like
this combo also works really well with incendiary rapid shot. I'm going to charge up the heat on my crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a power shot.
Alright, I think we're good. Let's see Affliction League. I think we're good.
The ice version of Power Shot creates frost walls at a distance. This is great for crowd controlling monsters in tight passages. The wall segments have other uses too. If they get destroyed by monsters, then they will explode, doing a small amount of damage.
Block him in!
Now, remember that burst shot combo with frozen enemies we did earlier?
No,
that works with ice walls too. Let's put burst shot back on.
I don't remember it at all, dude.
Now I can fill up this area with ice walls, then shoot them with armor-piercing burst shot for a huge amount of damage. Alright, it's time to face the boss for this area. Let's see how we fare against her with all the skills I've shown you so far.
Shall take pleasure in your castration! I'm not letting you anywhere near it.
Yo, what is that, dude?
Stay still, the mother! No, 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 no!
You got about to get the snip, dude.
Oh, my dear child! Your time has...
Oh, that's fucking disgusting, dude. You guys saw what she just did, right?
Rapid fire!
That is potentially the most fucking disgusting thing I've ever seen in this game. The unwanted...
Take this!
Holy shit. Are you kidding me, dude? The fucking little baby thing is named the Unwanted. Holy shit.
Piercing shot!
Taking so long, dude. Me when I'm least start testing against Exarch.
What is going on in this god's-forsaken city?
And that's the Mercenary. It feels totally different than anything we've made before, and shows you the range of what's possible in Path of Exile 2.
That was like... when she took the knife and ripped the baby out of herself and threw it at him? Yo, what the fuck was that? Like...
We're going to be showing off a lot more about Path of Exile 2 as we approach its beta, but in the meantime, we've got a Path of Exile 1 expansion coming out next week. I'm going to hand over to Mark, also known as Neon, to show you what's in store for PoE 1.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, let's just go ahead and get straight on into it.
Mark is doing
Here's the trailer for Path of Exile Affliction.
Where's Chris?
Something moves in the mists. Something sinister. Thorn. rot, plague, and
That looks
claw.
good.
The affliction spreads. It hungers for more.
So Firestorm?
Tread lightly in the wildwood, which shifts and bites. Accept our help, the ancient power of the Asmiri.
Wait, what?
Beware the spirits that
More skill
yearn
trees?
for freedom. And the heart of evil that waits in the dark.
Wildwood Ascendancies? Transfigured gems? Oh, let's go! He's back, dude! He's back, brother! At long last. What are Wildwood Ascendancies, dude? What is that? Alright, where's Ultimatum?
In the Affliction League, you will encounter sacred wisps, which beckon you to enter overgrown passageways that lead to the Viridian Wildwood.
Okay.
A vile affliction has covered this forest with a foreboding darkness. You will need to uncover the forest mysteries to put a stop to the source of the affliction. As you approach the darkness, the wisps burn away its affliction. Make sure you tread carefully, because they only have a limited amount of power. But be warned, the darkness is full of cursed monsters that emerge to kill you.
Interesting. That's actually
As
kind
you
of
explore,
novel.
you might see other types of wisps trapped inside the darkness. The Wildwood is trying to guide you towards clues about its affliction. Follow the trails of wisps by collecting them, and you may uncover many different secrets. New characters to find, shrines, boss
That's a
battles,
big
and all
axe, dude.
kinds
You
of
see
new
that
encounters
axe
are
that he's
lurking in the
holding?
forest just waiting for you to
Yo,
discover.
look at that thing.
There are many rewards to earn for those brave enough to seek them.
Yo, let me get that axe, brother. What is that?
When the sacred wisps run out of energy, they will return you back to where you came from.
That's a cleaver.
Any
What do you
other
guys think
types
a
of wisps
cleaver
you have
is?
collected will return with you to Rayclast. These wisps, having been saved from the affliction, disperse into the environment and inhabit randomly chosen monsters in the area, increasing their power and also their rewards. The different types of wisps have different effects on monsters, and sometimes more than one type will inhabit a single monster, making the fight even harder and even more rewarding. If this happens to a boss, you could be in for a tough fight, but if you can overcome it, your efforts will not be in vain. Primal Wisps grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters. Wild Wisps grant an item quantity bonus, and Vivid Wisps cause them to drop currency items. If a monster gets all three types, they'll drop more items of a higher rarity and a lot of currency. While exploring the Wildwood, you might find some of the last few Asmiri wanderers who have managed to survive in the forest since it was cursed. Each of them have different survival specializations, and they are willing to teach you if you agree to help them defeat the source of the affliction, the King in the Mists. Choose which of the Asmiri that you will complete quests for to unlock one of 3 new Ascendancy classes,
Okay, here we go.
which you can have in addition to your regular Ascendancy class. Up to 8 points for these classes are unlocked as you complete more quests for the Asmiri you are training under.
Yo.
The Warden of Eves can teach you to become a Warden of the Magi, a powerful class that takes advantage of wilderness knowledge. A Warden of the Magi can learn to use tinctures which coat their weapon, granting various powerful effects.
Yo, what? These are
You can
actually
equip tinctures in your flask slots and toggle them on and off at will.
So that's what they were.
You can only have one
Yo,
enabled
see
at
that
a
on
time, but the effects are quite conditional, so you may want to have more than one equipped and swap between them during combat.
Nah. Losing a flask slot? I don't
For
think so.
example, equip the Ironwood Tincture to gain the benefit of always stunning enemies on full life. Tinctures can also get random mods. This one in particular adds stacks of wither to targets on full life and steals frenzy charges on hit, which makes it great as an initiator. When you are fighting rare monsters or finishing off tough bosses, you will want to swap to the Oak Branch Tincture, which grants Culling Strike, increased damage against enemies on low life, and has a chance to steal a mod from rare enemies you kill.
That's pretty good.
You can buy more tinctures from the Warden of Eves using Primal Wisps when you find her in the forest, so keep an eye out for
Onslaught
her.
on kill.
As a Warden of the Magi gains more ascendancy points, they gain access to more skills that let them further specialize in tinctures. For example, Nature's Concoction allows you to invest in having your tinctures enhance your flasks. This ascendancy skill makes it important to think about which slots your tinctures are placed in, and what flasks they are adjacent to. You will have better uptime on those flasks and they'll be stronger as a result. But there are plenty more skills to choose even if you don't want to engage with tinctures.
Weapon no more than
For example, another new ability to unlock is Barkskin. It's a reservation skill that causes bark to grow all over your body, increasing armor.
Okay,
as you take damage, the bark falls off, increasing your evasion.
That's not as good.
Over time, the bark will grow back, removing the evasion bonus but increasing your armor again. The Breaker of Oaths can teach you to become a Warlock of the Mists, an ascendancy class specializing in the darker arts of the Esmeri.
Log in, dude, let's see.
One powerful ability you can choose is Blood Hunt, which grants an active skill called Ravenous. This skill lets you see what type a monster is under its life bar, whether it is a demon, beast, undead, construct, or humanoid.
Okay.
Consuming a corpse with this skill gives a buff to damage against that type of monster, and reduces damage taken by it. You can only have one type active at a time, so it's a good idea to choose wisely for the area that you are in. Some bosses like the Maven are eldritch in nature and don't conform to the regular corpses that you have access to, but don't worry. The Breaker of Oaths has a shop where you can trade wild wisps for corpses that you can place on the ground wherever you are. Buy an eldritch corpse and you will be able to get the bonus while fighting eldritch entities like the Maven.
Cool.
You may notice that most of the corpses he sells are not monsters you normally encounter.
Wait.
You might want to try turning some of these corpses into specters, to take advantage of some of the unique abilities that these monsters have.
Huh. Wait, what?
The Warlock of the Mists gets access to many other abilities. For example, there is a trio of curses that you can pick from. One of these curses targets your minions, giving them life degen and making them explode for massive damage when they are near death. One of them prevents enemies from dealing damage for the latter portion of its duration, which is quite powerful against bosses. This curse creates the interesting build decision of whether or not you should increase curse duration or reduce it. The final curse is a mark that causes enemy phantasms to be spawned when you hit the marked enemy. These phantasms aren't on your side, so they work well with on-hit and on-kill trigger effects, for example.
Oh, that's cool.
The Primal Huntress can teach you to become a Wildwood Primalist. Unlike the other new ascendancies, the Primal Huntress lets you customize your tree.
Okay.
You do this with charms that you can buy from the Primal Huntress for Vivid Wisps. Charms have randomly generated mods, which give stats from regular ascendancy classes.
Oh, this is going to be the strongest one.
Allowing you to create your own hybrid ascendancy class.
It's not even going to be close. This is going to be the strongest one.
Charms are magic items that are aligned with different attributes.
Yeah, there's no way.
So for example, this Ursine charm is strength aligned and has gotten the melee hits have a chance to fortify stat from the champion.
Nope.
And the ability to stop your movement speed going below base from the Juggernaut. This interline Corvine charm lets you get the stat that makes your consecrated ground effects linger from the Inquisitor, and the effect that makes cursed enemies explode from the Occultist. Some of the combination of mods that you might find for sale on charms can be extremely powerful, so keep a lookout for the Primal Huntress's shop even if you are not playing as a Primalist.
Jesus, dude.
As a Primalist, you also get access to a few other interesting abilities. Use Warcries next to corpses and they have a chance to drop an extra item. It opens nearby chests too. The Primalist also gets access to a small extra backpack, just in case you find yourself needing to cart more items to town during your map runs.
Wait, what? Okay, it's confirmed, dude. I don't care. This is the one.
If you are unhappy with the class you picked, or you just happen to find a really great item for another one of the classes, you are able to change which class you are using next time you find one of the Esmeri Wanderers. Just remember that you will have to do their quests in order to gain the ascendancy points for that class. These quests will lead you towards the ultimate goal of the Esmeri, finding the king in the mists, defeating him, and cleansing the forest of its affliction once and for all. There are new uniques to find, rewards to claim, and new ascendancy classes to master in the Affliction League. Now that we've covered what's in the league, let's talk about some of the changes you can expect to the core game in 3.23. Ooh. For a start, Ultimatum is finally going core.
That's crazy.
When talking to players at ExileCon, it was the #1 feature that people requested.
Of course, dude. We love circles.
When playing through in-game maps, you may sometimes encounter the Trial Master, who offers you a choice to undertake a deadly Vile trial in exchange for great rewards. If you defeat the trial, he offers to go double or nothing with you. Do you take the risk and go for an even better reward? Or do you take the winnings you have already earned off the table and go
back,
home?
boys, so that I can get
We've done a full
again.
rebalance of Ultimatum and have added many new mods and rewards, including both new and reworked uniques.
What is that ring,
The base number
dude?
of rounds for an Ultimatum trial is now always 10, with a chance to spawn the Trial Master boss fight on the 10th round, if you are able to make it that far.
What is that room?
As part of 3.23, we have also removed Metamorph from the game. All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum. We have also added a new Vile-themed catalyst that works on corrupted items. As is normal for most content that gets added to in-game, we have introduced new Ultimatum passive skills to the Atlas tree.
Dude, I'm down. Holy.
One great example is the Keystone Grueling Gauntlet. It makes Ultimatums last 3 extra rounds, but you cannot choose the modifiers, and it prevents the final Trial Master boss fight from spawning. The level of challenge becomes extreme during the last 3 rounds, and not being able to choose the modifiers makes it even harder. But the rewards are insane, and for those with very high-end characters, it might be a bet worth making. There are lots of other Atlas passive skills you can pick from for Ultimatum, so choose wisely.
3 Divine Orbs?
Now, it's time to talk about one of the largest metagame changes we've ever made.
Oh no.
There were 3 systems in Path of Exile that were all trying to subtly modify the behavior of skills.
Oh no.
These were alternate quality gems, Labyrinth Helmet Enchant,
I'm scared,
and
dude.
unique Threshold Jewels. We've combined all of these together to create a new system called Transfigured Gems that allows us to fully achieve the goal of these 3 systems and then some. Transfigured Gems are alternative versions of existing skill gems that have different functionality and balance from their regular versions. We have added a huge number of these with interesting variations that drastically change how existing skills play. For example, Frostbomb of Instability. It changes it from a cooldown skill that you can cast occasionally for a large explosion into a skill that you can cast continuously but deals less damage and doesn't apply cold exposure.
So this is better.
It changes the role of Frostbomb from a utility skill into a main damaging skill.
I like this a lot.
Another example is Detonate Dead of Scavenging. You can't use it on corpses that were created by Desecrate or Unearth, but in exchange it does a whole lot more damage. You won't be able to use it as your main reliable source of damage, but it's a great skill to use as a 4-link utility to get some extreme burst damage. Raise Zombie of Falling. Instead of raising a zombie from a corpse, you summon them from midair. They fall to their death, dealing AoE damage where they land. While this sounds like a physical damage version of Firestorm, you should consider that it scales with minion damage and also triggers on-death minion effects. Blight of Contagion. This version of Blight is now spread by Contagion, so you can use it as part of your Essence Drain build. We have a huge number of these. Transfigure Firestorm into Firestorm with Meteors, Transfigure Blade Trap into Blade Trap of Greatswords, Transfigure Barrage into Barrage of Volley Fire, and so on. There is a lot to experiment with, and we look forward to seeing what builds you can come up with.
Jesus.
But how do you get Transfigured Gems?
Oh no.
The Divine Font at the end of the Eternal Labyrinth has been changed to a gem crafting device that can modify your skill and support gems in a lot of new ways.
No!
One of the options you can now choose is to turn a skill gem into one of 3 Transfigured Gems.
Dude.
But that isn't all the Divine Font can do. It has a lot of other gem crafting options you can use. For example, you can add quality to gems, add experience to gems, sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to open Azaros chests, and you can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten. These are just some of the options you'll find the Divine Font is now capable of. In order to replace the rewards in Heist that previously gave alternate quality gems, we have done a rebalance of the rewards of Heist as well. Experimented base types have been rebalanced, new replica uniques have been added and old ones changed, and we have increased the amount of currency from display cases as well. On top of this, we have gone through and buffed the quality stats on most damage dealing skills. In most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before, and also more interesting.
1 secondary projectile?
Overall, this is one of the largest metagame shifts that we've ever done. There are so many crazy new skill combinations to plan around, So we expect to see some really interesting new builds.
What do I even make as League Star builds,
Next up,
dude?
I'd like to
I
hand
don't
back
know.
over to Chris to talk about the new supporter packs.
What do I even...
At this point, we'd usually talk about the League supporter packs.
Ah, yes, Chris
We're
talking
doing
about
things
the
a bit
money.
differently this year. Rather than releasing League supporter packs today and then our annual core packs 2 weeks later, we have combined it all together into a strong set of core supporter packs that will be released alongside Path of Exile Affliction next week. The series contains 5 packs, each with its full value in points and a collection of
What is that
exclusive cosmetic
surfboard,
microtransactions. The higher packs contain physical merchandise. We'll unveil the full details of each of the packs at release next week, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek of some of their exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. These packs will be available for purchase when Path of Exile Affliction launches on the 8th of December. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post Path of Exile Affliction's full patch notes. With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Affliction's release. Keep an eye on the news. On release weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and this season's Kyrix Vault Pass. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to exploring the Viridian Wildwood with you next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
What do I mark here? What do I mark here, dude? Yeah, new skill gems. I guess minions got buffed, yeah? That is absolutely, yeah, we just marked skill gems like, let's give it like a couple, you know, let's give it like 3 or 4 more. Okay. Can we talk about one thing real quick, chat? Why did I just get a notification on Discord?
G'day, Ziggy D here, folks. Exiles, welcome for a giant
that's from the stream.
Q&A after a huge reveal session. We have
Okay, never
here
mind.
today Chris, Jonathan,
Stop!
and Mark.
Fix your
3
Discord!
progressive one this time around.
You're
Yes,
triggering
Chris.
me!
Welcome, folks.
Thank you
Very much. Yeah.
Cheers.
Excellent, folks. We're going to be moving through things in rough order that we saw things today during the reveal. So starting with Path of Exile 2 and then moving through some of the new Path of Exile 1 features. So get those questions in through Twitch chat and we'll sprinkle those in through each of those various sections. So first, let's talk about that new movement scheme that was revealed with the new mercenary class. So we have the new WASD movement. And does this alternate control scheme work with other classes and builds, or is it mainly intended for like this shooter mercenary style?
All right. I mean, they're gonna talk about PoE 2. I'm sorry, chat. I don't care about them talking about PoE 2. Bro, why lab?
When I tried out some melee stuff, I was pretty sold on it. Actually, it was better than I was expecting. There's
why
still some tweaks to
lab?
it to make that perfect internally, but like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I think I'm probably.
I don't love lab.
I'm gonna be playing that way myself, actually, even though I was a bit of a skeptic at first.
I don't love lab. Okay.
Melee. I think it is good, but we want to make sure that everyone understands that you can change from one to the other whenever you want. It's just one of those things that like some people may prefer it, some people may not.
I think it'll be better since you can bring the gym, not wait for a certain enchant to show up. I know it's going to be better. I don't enjoy running lab though. Like if I take out all of the loot from lab, just the process of running the lab, it just
that first.
It's up. Okay, I care way more about this than whatever they're talking about.
W is now not a skill.
Sorry, Ziggy and boys. I just
very fun to play.
we'll come back and look at this in a second once they're done talking about PoE 2. Okay, let's see what we got here. 3 new Ascendancy class, Return of Ultimatum, 100 new Transfigured gems. I'm super hyped about the Transfigured gems, but like, there's Viridian Wildwoods. Anything cool in here? I see the Tincture. What ability is this? Is that Double Strike? I think that might be Double Strike. Wait, what is this here? That's what's it called? Lacerate, right? Oh, dual strike. Yeah, that's dual strike. This is double strike. This is double strike. That's lacerate. All the flasks and everything are the same. Look at the unique body armor. We'll get there. I'm gonna go down the list. That's a big ass flower, dude. Control your challenge and rewards. Yep, that's cool. Wild Ascendancy classes. These look insane. Is there nothing there for me to click? Oh, okay, so it's here. Okay, let's look at these. So this is the tincture one. Inflict Wither, we saw that one. Okay, we saw both of those. Let's look at this. Okay, so defenses from equipped body armor are doubled if it has no socketed gems. 50% to all elemental resistances if you have an equipped helmet with no socketed gems. 25% increased max life if you have gloves with no gems. 30% movement speed if you have equipped boots with no gems. So just no gem build. Let's go, dude. Okay, cool. Your hits against marked enemies cannot be blocked or suppressed. Rare and unique enemies within 120 meters have mini-map icons? Oh, I kind of want that. I kind of want that, dude. Yeah, we know about the tinctures. Last adjacent to applied tinctures that gain 3 charges when you hit an enemy, no more than once every second. 3 charges per second is pretty good. Last adjacent to applied tinctures have 30% increased effect when used if you've hit an enemy with a weapon recently. Also really good. 30% flask effect is really strong. Tinctures applied to you have 75% increased effect per empty flask slot. I don't know about that. Bark skin looked kind of cool. 10% chance to avoid non-damaging ailments on you per bark below maximum. I mean, I guess that's okay. That's decent. All right, Warlock of the Mists. Fiery Cannibal, Frozen Cannibal, Dark Marionette, Perfect Hydra. So this is Hydra from what's it called, right? Casts Hatred. Just gives you Hatred aura? Okay. Becomes empowered if allied Fiery Cannibal is nearby. Interesting. Okay. All right, so this is the curse thing. We saw the 3 curses. We know about that. Enemies pacified, you take 20% increased damage. That's pretty big. What the hell? Minions affected by Affliction have Onslaught. Phantasms from Penance Mark have 50% chance to grant a Vol Soul on death. Grant a Vol Soul on death. Huh. I don't know what Dark Effigy is. We know what Ravenous was. I don't know what Dark Effigy is. Does this like curse or something? Okay. Skills cost life instead of mana. Skills reserve life instead of mana. Removes all mana. 50% increased life reservation efficiency of skills. Did they have to get rid of tattoos this league? Maybe blood magic might actually be okay? Like maybe we could do blood magic firestorm again in some manner? We're gonna have to find more defensive layers for it. That's insane though. Because removes all mana is fine. Maybe we can do it again? We'll have to see. I'll mess with that. Spells you cast yourself gain added physical damage equal to 75% of life cost. Interesting. Removes all energy shield. Gain maximum life instead of maximum energy shield from equipped items. -6 maximum life per level. Gain maximum life instead of maximum energy shield from equipped armor items. I don't think that's as good for Blood Magic Firestorm. Huh. Curious to see what the Dark Effigy is. That's interesting. Okay. Fortify. Movement speed can't be reduced. Movement speed per frenzy charge. Less damage from area hits. Explodious Chaos and Consecrated Ground. It's just insane, dude. Howl of the Wolf is hilarious, dude. Your Warcries attempt to shake extra items from corpses. Ziggy stream.
Playstyles and that kind of.
Is there anything good that ever happens here? I've never cared about anything they've ever talked about in this.
Yeah, At the risk of going like off topic a little bit, I already noticed in previous reveals that like the melee stuff is getting a lot more fluid with a lot more movement and stuff like that. But a lot of that was kind of pre-scripted but modifiable.
I don't know. I've never cared about
movement
anything that they've
where you
talked
could, like,
about in
whirl
these.
and then change direction a little bit.
I kind of want to just go back to looking at this. I care so much more about this than any of what Ziggy and them are talking about. It's always a bunch of softball questions that answer almost nothing. Like it's just nothing. Increase character size, equip a Wildwood rucksack which has 20 inventory slots. That's nuts, dude. And then they've got the charm sockets. Okay. That one's really good, just for the charm sockets. Pragmatism. Whoa. What? Plus 12 to level of socketed skill gems. Minus 2 to level of socketed skill gems per socketed gem. You know what this is good for? You know what this is good for? Abilities that don't have a lot of like support gems that work out well for it. Yeah, plus 10 is still really good. Okay. Thorn Helmet. Okay. Elemental Thorn Helmet. When an enemy hit deals elemental damage to you, their resistance to those elements becomes 0 for 4 seconds. Is that good? Isn't just the inverse one better? Because you have to get hit. It's an enemy hit, so yeah, maybe you could like cheese it on bosses. But elemental resistance is becoming 0 actually isn't that good most of the time. I don't know. If you can still lower it beyond this, it might be okay. Okay, this is a gold amulet. 40 to maximum life for each empty red socket on any equipped item. Accuracy, mana. I don't know. I mean, maybe a life stack build. You could just get a bunch of life if you didn't. I don't know. These whole things with like empty skill gems. The problem with Path of Exile and making items that have like empty skill gems is just that like skill gems are so important. So I don't know. It could be good. There's probably a lot of use cases where it's good. Applies a random quality type and amount of quality to a corrupted ring, amulet, or belt. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that it exists. That's nice that this exists. Yeah, and then ultimatums. Okay, let's look at some of these. So they gave us some. Not all, but they gave us some. Frozen Legion of Rallying. Do I care about Frozen Legion, man? Consumes 1 cooldown per... I don't know that I care about Frozen Legion. Alright, Fissure erupts 3 additional times. Too bad that, like, Volcanic Fissure Totems was the main way that you play this, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Bladestorm of Uncertainty. What does this do that's different? Bladestorm deals 50% less damage with hits and ailments. Is that what it does? More movement speed, another Bladestorm, more attack speed, and more damage with bleeding, but less damage with everything else. Okay. This is hilarious. Flame Dash of Return? Bro, what? Why would I want to go back to where I was? Effectiveness of added damage 270%. It deals fire damage over time. And it has a big base hit. Interesting. Maximum 10 firestorms at a time. So this gets rid of the meteor and lets you have 10 of them? We get patch notes after they're done talking to Ziggy about
instead. But they have support gems and everything like that. And effectively, whenever we want to have a crossbow skill, as it were.
No, sorry, don't care. Yeah, this is just old Firestorm. Base radius is 1.2 meters. Firestorm. Stop showing me my own videos when I type in Firestorm, okay? Does it tell me the base radius? I don't see a base radius on the base Firestorm. So you can have 10 of these at the same time, but you lose the big meteor. And the damage is higher. The damage is higher by a pretty decent amount. The base duration is 2 seconds. 2 seconds is so short. You would have to scale duration on this. Yeah, you'd have to scale duration to make this worthwhile, I think. Because are you going to be able to cast 5 times a second easily? You'd probably have to get some duration. That's interesting. We can mess around with it later. Oh. A large flaming bolt falls towards the targeted area. The bolt explodes when landing, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Okay, log in, dude. So this is just like Firestorm, but big. Totems can handle it? Yeah, potentially. Our Blight of Contagion. Applies a debuff to enemies in front of you, which deals chaos damage. Enemies who aren't already debuffed by Blight are also hindered for a short duration. Continuing channeling adds layers of damage to the buff, each with their own duration. The damaging debuff is spread by contagion. Ooh, interesting. You can use this instead of Essence Drain. We saw the flame. We saw the Frostbomb of Invincibility one. We saw Detonate Dead of Scavenging. 34% of the corpses' maximum life is pretty nuts. Blade Trap of Greatswords. Throws a trap which once triggered swings 2 copies of your equipped 2-handed sword around in a circle. Are we gonna get Rockiata's? Are we getting Rockiata's Blade Trap right now? Like, is that gonna be a thing, dude? Yeah, Terminus S2. But yeah, I think we're gonna get Rockiata's Blade Trap. Yo, Captain Lance is already theory crafting it right now. He was already doing Blade Trap the other day, wasn't he? Double Strike of Impaling. Killing blows cause impales on enemies to reflect damage to surrounding enemies. 40% chance to impale enemies on hit and 40% increased impale effect. Yo, what the hell? That's actually pretty crazy. Like, if you put... It's a strike. Yeah, it's like Impale Explode, and you can put, you know, like Ancestral Call and other stuff on it. This is potentially really cool. And it's got 40% base, too. God, 80% base attack speed. I hate that shit, though. And it doesn't seem to have any interaction with Call of Steel whatsoever. There's no anything. Is the Impale effect the quality? I guess we'll have to see. That could be good. Maybe we could play that on a champion. Barrage of Volley Fire. Oh. Fires an additional 10 projectiles simultaneously on the first and final attack. So you remove projectiles? No, it'll be stuff that we'll play afterwards. So would you try to remove projectiles from this? Because you would want it to have 2 projectiles, right? So that it's just always firing 10 additional projectiles every shot, and then you scale attack speed, right? Something like that. Blink Arrow of Bombarding Clones. Fires an arrow at the target destination. When the arrow lands, you're teleported to it, and a clone is summoned at your old location. The clone is a minion that uses your bow and quiver to fire a rain of arrows. Interesting. I mean, maybe that's cool. Who knows? Fires an arrow at the target nation. When the arrow lands, you are teleported to it, and a clone is summoned to your old location. The clone has a minion that uses your bow and quiver to fire elemental arrows. Okay. Animate weapon of ranged arms. Animates a ranged weapon, item, or lingering blade to fight by your side. You cannot animate unidentified weapons. Will not animate weapons with 6 sockets. Okay, that's a cool little addition there. Cannot be used by traps or mines. Animated lingering blades are bows. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so I kind of want to make a fucking double strike champion impale build. Never thought I'd say that. Is that it? Okay, so have we seen everything? That's kind of cool. All right, what do we got? Anything good?
Like blocking and taunting enemies, I noticed, it seemed. How do you keep these sorts of effects like feeling powerful and relevant in boss fights without just kind of breaking the fight or trivializing them?
We're still talking
I mean,
PvP?
on some level, like, we have to be able to let players use those tools in boss fights, because otherwise there's no point in them. Like, I really want it to be the kind of game where you can use that kind of more control type stuff. And, I mean, like... It's funny because a lot of the designers, when we talk to them, we're like, "Hey, we should love this," and they're like, "Oh my god, it's crazy because like it's going to be way too easy." Like, and then Mark will look at him and he goes, "It's not that broken. It's not that broken." It's like you look at some of the stuff you can do in PoE 1, and I'm like, the ability to like freeze people in place with walls is like nothing compared to like the ridiculousness that your character can get to. So yeah, like when you actually think about it, like. It's not that broken really. I mean, and we want players to have fun at the end of the day, right? We want them to be able to use those tools, and I quite enjoy it. But in particular, though, with the ice, though, those walls, once a monster gets above a certain size, they no longer get blocked by them, and they run through them. They still get explode. So Ursia, you might have noticed, like the baby wasn't able to get through the walls, but Ursia can run through them, and then they just get that little detonation. So the skill actually changes a bit. Like against small monsters, they have to like stop and attack. It completely blocks them in, and they can't get through. But against large monsters, the monster rolls right through it, but then they explode and get chilled. So it kind of changes the function a little bit for boss versus the small monsters, and so that's why that particular skill I think is actually fine in that regard. So yeah, there's little tricks like that we can do, and I think I honestly really enjoy the stuff we're doing with monster size, which was never a factor in PoE 1 design. Like monster size means that we can say, okay, like bigger, like this happens to large monsters. I mean, it all makes some kind of physical sense on some level.
Is dead. Heist...
bigger monsters can have this happen, smaller monsters have that happen.
They said they rebalanced it.
A bit more control in that way as well.
I'm just gonna.
Does this give you marks?
I'm just gonna mute this again. So the thing about it is, I don't think Heist is dead. They said they rebalanced a bunch of the replica uniques, which is why I want patch notes. I want to see like all the replica uniques and all that kind of stuff. They said that it's going to give more other loot, which could still be good. I don't exactly know like what Heist is gonna be like. We'll see. Because the thing about it is that you could already run non-unusual gems heists and make money, right? So if they rebalance all that stuff and there's enough replica uniques that are worthwhile, it'll basically be the same as it was before. It just depends on how much currency and stuff also shows up. Like we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm curious how many like alternate quality gem stuff exists. You can't plan any of the alternate quality gem stuff for League Start. So anything that you see in like this list, like all of this stuff, none of this will work on League Start. I don't even know if all of this stuff will work on a first character realistically. So basically ignore everything having to do with all of this alt quality stuff for a League Start build. None of that will work. Because there's just no way you're going to be able to get a hold of these super early, right? They say what's happening with previous lab enchants, they're being built into this. So all of the stuff like alt quality gems, lab enchants, and all that kind of stuff is all going away. All of it's gone, and now we just have gems that do crazy shit. Okay? Are there also alt quality support gems still, or are those gone for good? I don't know. I think they're probably going away. I'm not 100% certain. I don't remember what they said specifically about support gems. Threshold gems? You mean threshold jewels? I think those are separate. I wonder if alt quality gems also went poof. Yeah, well, those got replaced for sure. I don't know about alt quality supports though. Like, I don't exactly know what the idea behind that is. We have to wait for patch notes. I agree that this is good for the game. I really like this. This is a lot of new cool stuff. They also said they're changing up normal quality mods on gems. That's cool as well. I like this a lot. I think this is really super cool. I'm super hyped about this because this gives us a bunch of new tools and toys to play with, right? Because now I have like 50 new builds that I can try, right? Like we can literally just try all kinds of crazy shit now. Like there's no reason not to, right? Like legitimately, I'm gonna have to do like actual real farm at League Start this time. Like I legit have so many ideas in my head for things that I can do. I'm gonna have to do real League Start like currency farm
on an elevation. They'll actually like pathfind backwards to try and get a line of sight to you with their projectile.
I don't care, dude. This is huge. League Start meta, I don't know that it's going to change drastically, to be honest with you. What if the font always gives you the same option? So instead of lab farming for a specific enchant, you're farming for a result. I think that's what's intended. I think the idea now, is that you are just going to be able to like go for the thing that you want in lab, right? I'm assuming that some of these are rarer than other ones, right? So like if there's two separate Firestorm ones, yeah, I assume there's going to be weightings like there is in Heist. So yeah, can you just run Merciless Lab? I'm sure some of the options probably won't be as good. I'm glad that Metamorph is gone, to be honest with you. Metamorph was never fun. This is big though. Let me see. Yeah, I didn't look at this. -2 prefixes, -1 suffixes. Implicit modifiers cannot be changed. 100% increase explicit modifier magnitudes. That is pretty insane. Like, what can you get on an amulet? That's pretty nuts. Honestly, this is a pretty big hype league for, like, hardcore PoE players and content creators. This is a big hype league. I'm not 100% certain that, like, normies are going to love this too much. We'll see. Emulator, craft new item. So what is it? You lose 2 prefixes and 1 suffix. You can have 1 prefix, 2 suffixes. Jewelry, amulet. Yeah, so that. You could have +2 to skill gems, right? It's 100%. Yeah? It would be your only prefix on the item, though. Because it's 100% now. So this is going to be +2 skill gems. Ooh, that's kind of... I don't know how good that is. Probably some shenanigans there. Interesting. Can you make them Shaper or Elder? There's still the Harvest Benchcraft that like randomizes the influence, right? You can make them these 4. Yo, there's a lot of crazy ones. There's a lot of crazy ones. Like percent damage for dexterity. What's up? What's this? Replica. Oh, yeah. They pulled it from here. Your maximum endurance charges is equal to your maximum frenzy charges, +1 maximum fortification per endurance charge. Increase cooldown recovery rate of travel skills per frenzy charge. +1 max fortify per endurance charge. I missed everything TLDR. Additional ascendancies that anyone can take. Helmet enchants, alt quality gems, and all of that are gone, and now there are just like enhanced versions of gems that do crazy shit. Yeah, Ashes is gonna be a bajillion fucking dollars, dude. All right, where are we at? We talking about
take a step back really easily when you're fighting them. When they get up close. There are things like that like are a little bit easier. Whereas with click to move, like you're less inclined to because you'd have to.
Still PoE 2. Still PoE 2. So yeah, like damage here. What else? Nothing super crazy there. Projectiles pierce additional targets, not that crazy. Redeemer, not that crazy. Crafted mods still technically work, right? Veiled mods also work. Stainless steel mana cost. None of that's super crazy, besides like some of the ones that are up here, right? The suffixes. You can have 2 suffixes. Oh yeah, and ultimatum's back. Minus mana is big. You're taking it instead of life though, right? Like, are you really genuinely going to give up what is it? Like 180 life? Like, you gonna give up 180 life? Quant is cool. I don't care too much about Quant though. Like, I don't care much about MFing, if I'm gonna be real with you. I just don't care that much. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about Magic Fine, if I'm gonna be real. Attribute stacking? Oh shit, true. You're gonna be able to, holy fuck, you're gonna be able to have 110 of 2 attributes on this. Dude, you're gonna be able to have so much. That's nuts. Plus Catalyst? Yeah, true. That's pretty nuts. What else is on here? Block? Can get 213 life if Catalyst survive. Catalysts, I think, are still in. They're just from Ultimatum now. So you could get, what, 20 quant? That's pretty good. I agree that that's pretty good. You could have 20 mana reservation efficiency of skills. That's also pretty decent. How does this work? Do you get level 44 anger? Yeah, do you get level 44 anger, dude? Probably not. Percentage increased intelligence. Increased mana reservation efficiency could maybe be okay. Maximum chance to block attack damage. Kiwi One Talk is on? Okay. Log in?
Yep. So it's how much of that you can purge away. So if you run back on a path you've already been, like let's say you run up some way and then you want to go back and then go a different direction, like running back where you've been doesn't use the resource, but running anywhere new does.
Yeah. I think that'll be a popular decision instead of it being like, say, a hard timer.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long is a venture into the Wildwood typically? Like, how long are you like exiting your map?
Well, even typical is somehow subjective here, but obviously it depends on your character. But I mean, anywhere, I would expect most people to be in there like kind of a minute, upwards of 2 minutes.
What is on Chris's face?
Depends on what you run into, though.
Is he okay?
If you run into a boss fight, it can, it can be a while.
It does depend what you find, but like, I mean, you could be in there a short.
He's just got the like
30 seconds or
face on,
or a lot less if you're, just not really caring where you're going.
He
but
looks concerned,
that is
dude.
not the right tactic to have at all.
And there isn't time pressure here in any way. You can be in there for a quarter of an hour if you're just incredibly methodical and barely move.
I don't think that anyone would be doing that, but yeah.
You can.
We are catering to slower players who don't like the gotta go fast thing. Like, you can go fast. It's more efficient to go fast, but you don't have to.
All 5 of them, yes.
Sorry? Wanted something that was normalized a bit more between faster and slower players. Like, you can do it at your own pace as opposed to feeling like ultra stressed.
That's good, I think.
And a faster player can do it as fast as they want, and that's still fine.
Excellent. So you get these wisps and you free them. They go into your map and they infect monsters and you make them drop more loot. Are they like more likely to choose more powerful enemies like rares and bosses, or is it just fully random?
They are more likely to pick, bosses and rares or higher rarity monsters going down. Yes.
And otherwise there would have been like no chance for multiple wisp types to go into one monster, right? So we had to make it so that it was relatively likely for that to occur, but it doesn't always happen. It's kind of it's variable.
As a typical Path of Exile player, I immediately thought of abuse cases for this. Can you like kill all the monsters in a map except the boss, and then just go in and come out, and then free the wisp into the boss only, stacking it up?
Thankfully, as we're also PoE players, we have also thought of this. We don't think of everything, but at least in that case, no, it is a chance per monster. So if you clear the whole map and then go and do it, the resultant is, it's actually detrimental for you.
Yeah. And the Wildwood always appears at the start of the map. So that means that you always like have the chance, like that way you get the most, just to make sure that you get the most, what do you call it, equity of drop equity or whatever out of doing it. So like,
a little like Delirium where the mirror would spawn.
Exactly, it is exactly like that.
Yep.
Great.
That was good.
You guys have thought of it.
We've done this for a while now.
Some experience.
Yeah.
So some players love mechanics in maps, and others seem to love ones that cause them to take a break from a map. There's definitely some divide there. Interestingly, I noticed that Affliction is a little bit of both. It's a portal, but it juices your map afterwards. How do you folks like to balance the desires of the player base when it comes to designing leagues like this?
Ultimately, we just like to do a bit of all of it.
In-map is
Sometimes
always
it's out
better,
of
dude.
map,
Not
sometimes
even
it's in map,
close.
sometimes in this case it's a bit of both. Like there isn't really some, elaborate decision that goes into it. It's just kind of like we feel like it's time for one or the other.
I mean, we definitely have discussions of like, oh, we've done a couple of an area ones, let's do an out of area one. Oh, we've done some out of area ones, let's do an area one. Like, in this case, we were like, it just sort of felt good to have both things. So it was good. But like honestly, we try to just have a variety.
It might be bad now.
So it's kind of concept, at least that I use internally, which is what shape is the combat, and we want to try all the different shapes we can do, and we haven't run out of shapes yet.
This shape technically is whatever shape you want to.
I mean, they've ran out of circles at this point. Like that, they've used that shape like 5,000 times.
I have to always look out for my co-op buddies. How does Affliction work in multiplayer?
So once you die, you can't go back in. Just worth noting. Technically, that's multiplayer or single player, but only the map owner can, or if they're not present, I believe it nominates someone else, but I'll make sure that's the case if not, can actually reveal fog or the mist, whatever, the bugs. And when you collect, so the expectation is the party members kind of follow them around. And the wisps that you collect, it's the same amount. So they're just a shared pool. Like
any player who collects wisps will go to the primary player. So like they're all so there's effectively the map owner is the one in charge of of exploring basically.
But anyone can pick them up if you want to spread out a little bit like that. So it works in multiplayer. Due to the nature of the rewards, just being based on the monsters' drops, they will scale with like party drops like normal. So there's no they just work as standard multiplayer drops would work.
Right.
Oh yeah, so broken as fuck.
And we get this new ascendancy system as a reward for this, which seems quite significant, especially seeing some of the specific bonuses there. How challenging is it to actually unlock these Wildwood ascendancies and gain all of their points?
So you can get 8 points per class. You get your first 2 points when you meet the NPCs, which occurs relatively early. I think we have it is slightly RNG based, and whether or not you find them, and but you can increase the chance of finding them by following the trails of wisps. They will lead to them.
So the different colors have different things at the end of the trail, so you can kind of pick which direction you want to go.
And each color associates to an NPC. So I think they can start appearing around Act 2, and then the expectation is by the end of Act 5, you've probably found each of them once. And when you meet them, you get your first 2 points, and then they'll give you a quest if you spec into that class to find more wisps or kill some monsters, like real basic quests, all done within the forest. And then you get your 4th point, and then or 3rd and 4th points, and then you have a quest to kill like a mini boss, and then it'll give you your 5th and 6th, and then the final 2 points are from killing the final boss of the league, which is probably relatively difficult. Like that's a level 83 kind of, maybe equivalent to say like Lycia from Sanctum, or not quite pinnacle boss, but like just below it kind of thing.
Okay, that's cool.
So that will be hard.
Should be doable.
So you could argue the first 6 points, the first 2 points are very easy. First 6 easier than probably say Labyrinth or the normal Ascendancy equivalent, but the last 2 points will be quite a lot harder than the regular Ascendancy 8 last 2 points.
And this is in parallel / addition to your existing Ascendancy class and its progress. You have 2 classes here to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that last one that was revealed was like a little bit of everything. pretty cool. Those charms. Yep. So the unique specters from the Breaker of Oaths, including bosses like the Hydra, was certainly a surprise. Can you have more than one Hydra Spectre or like an army of bosses?
Yeah, what the hell's going on with that?
You can have up to your Spectre limit of Hydras, but they cannot be desecrated. So once you have it, once you have the item, you buy it from him, you can only Spectre it once. Once it dies, then you have to buy more of them. But yes, it will be hard to find them.
You can trade them.
Yes, you can trade for them. I really wanted this whole, I wanted you to be able to find the NPC and then be able to effectively buy something from them that could be worth multiple divines. And I'm like, a Hydra could be worth multiple divines. Like, let's see if we can do that.
Note, you can buy these and trade them even if you aren't that class.
Yes. Yeah, of course, of course.
So there's a reason to
That
look at the
sounds
shop for
miserable.
all of the NPCs, regardless of whether or not you're that ascendancy class, because other people can use them.
Talk about the fragility of the Hydra.
Yes. Well, it is worth noting the Hydra's health in particular is relatively low.
Of course it is.
So you do have to keep it alive.
Well, not playing that.
The
Good to know.
specters in general they're pretty interesting. There's a lot I've tried to go for where we've gone and tried to give stats that other builds wouldn't use. Like there's one, for example, where one of its properties just says your owner, as in the player, has 5% more attack damage or melee attack damage. I can't remember which of those two. And then if you get all your specters, you can get like 40% more attack damage. But now you're a melee build that's investing in plus specter limit, and there's some interesting weird things you might be doing there. And then of course that means you need minion life, otherwise they're all just going to die. And there's hopefully some kind of weird, interesting builds that come out of this, where you have unorthodox builds using specters that you normally wouldn't.
And you have that interesting one with Fire Fury and.
Oh yeah, there's a kind of, I don't know what they're called, but it's effectively Fire Fury and Hellrake, and they specifically, the Fire Fury one says becomes empowered if there is if you also have a Hellrake Spectre, and the Hellrake Spectre says the same thing. So then you want to run two different ones, which again is also kind of abnormal, because normally when you do play a Spectre build, you stack a lot of the same thing. So it's promoting a bit of just different gameplay around that.
So there's something going on between the Fire Fury and the Hellrake. Then they have some backstory together. I guess
they're empowering each other, yeah, for sure.
Okay, dude.
Fanfic authors take note.
Yeah, here we go.
Fucking Chris,
fanfic
dude.
in progress.
Chris would be the one that
Charms
says
of the
that.
Wildwood Primalist, they capture random parts of other ascendancy nodes and allow you to create a new one in kind of like a build your own ascendancy fashion. What sort of limitations are there? Can you just get like any power from any node?
He said
You
fanfic
can't
writers
get anything.
take note.
I can't remember exactly what you can and can't get, but there are some stuff that is like it's binary and ultra powerful, and like that's just too much power to give from a single node like that can have two modifiers on it. So you can't get everything, but you can get most things, and even in some cases where they are binary, we've made non-binary versions of that property where it's like can either be chance-based or percentage-based, like a portion of it. But they do stack as well. So like, for example, you can get the 3 sockets, and obviously you can get like, we showed, say, the Occultist Curse Explosion. Like if you just want to go all in on the chance of that, you could try and get that on all 3 of them. But again, it's going to be pretty rare. They're unmodifiable, but again, tradable. And I'm expecting, again, going under the philosophy of I want you to be able to find these NPCs and occasionally find something worth a lot. I do want it to be that occasionally you find one and you
pathofexile.com/affliction
because you find just the perfect charm.
And again, you don't have to be that class to find the charm.
Yes, we'll keep reiterating that. Yes.
Yeah, there's some
shops.
Yeah, the shops
there's some wealth to be had.
Should be valuable.
With the Spectre
Hopefully.
video already? No shit.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Are there any limitations to this Primalist shouting items at corpses thing? It's like, are people just going to be going around shouting at every corpse for extra loot?
Well, it's one of these
that was a
interesting.
day
This one's
ago.
been very controversial. I'll point out internally. Like, don't get me wrong. See, for me, I really like it because it's a thing where if you're an efficient, let's think of it a few different ways. Firstly, if you're destroying corpses, it doesn't work, right? There's no body left to get loot from. So you can deal with spikers and or with the porcupines and among other things. But so we had a bit of a
we're back now.
A Discord dip there. I'm going to just start that part again. But one thing to note is that yes, you have to have the corpse around, which means you have to be playing a build that doesn't destroy corpses. Meaning, of course, you have to deal with the porcupine Goliaths. I don't know who heard that before, but whatever. And then the other thing to note is it actually rewards slower players more than faster players because you have to Warcry, which is cooldown based. Are you really going to wait around meticulously Warcrying on every single corpse, or are you just going to move on and kill more monsters and run more maps? And so if you want to get the most out of your map, of course, that's a way to do it. But if you want to get most out of your time, that is not the way to do it. So yes, you could like Warcry, bind it to your left click and then just Warcry whenever it's available and get whatever loot you can get.
I reckon opening the
correct
chests
way.
is the
opening
that's time efficient.
Opening chests is a big time
that's
saver.
the main use of that skill, I would say.
But It is worth noting, just to get into some specifics of how that works as well. It doesn't care about the monster's quantity and rarity. It does care about map quant and rarity. So a boss is just going to occasionally drop like an item, if that. You know, it doesn't like re-drop all its drops. So it's not like ultra powerful. Due to that, it's probably honestly going to yield a little bit more. Like it's more for like getting a little bit of extra currency than it is getting like unique items and rare items and stuff like that.
I'll ask the obvious question that you knew you'd get when you added a backpack inventory expansion. Do you think you'll give this to people outside of the Primalist?
Short answer, no. But I mean, look, we chuck these in, we experiment for 3 months, and we see. This was also the node of the second highest level of controversy internally. We'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. But like, I do not see that thing returning outside of the Primalists after the league, even if the league happens to go core. You know.
Yeah. Controversial league design. It sounds like internally. Oof.
Well, they're 3 month experiments essentially.
Yeah, we like to try things.
I say controversy. It's fun.
It's not like there's a shouting match or anything going on, right? Like it's just
they're screaming at the top of their lungs at each other. Blood sports.
We've got some more chat questions on Affliction before we move on to some of the other features. When you enter the Wildwood, do you start at the last place you're at? Is it like a continual exploration, or is it a new area each time?
It's not continuous, no. It is effectively an infinite forest, but you're put in a random place every single time. It's new exploration. It isn't continuous from the previous areas, no.
So it feels slightly like the idea of Delve without the actual specific.
It isn't really like Delve because it doesn't have the whole like big map or anything like that.
Are the wisps tradable or collected as currency items at all?
No, I mean they're tradable to the vendors, but that's not really trading. They're usable as currency for the vendors, but aside from that, no. They are, and between instants, they don't carry over at all.
Right.
Because once you leave the Wildwood, they're dispersed, so you don't get to keep them at all. No.
And just clarifying for people that missed this detail, you'll be able to use the regular Ascendancy class alongside the Wildwood Ascendancy class. It's extra on top.
You will eventually get 8 points in both. Yes.
Sweet. Can monsters attack from the Fog of War in Affliction, or only once they're fully revealed? Ooh, good question.
You will not get you're both not going to be like given an advantage as a ranged character to shoot into it, and you will not be attacked from it. They will not do similar to Delve Darkness. They will come out of the darkness before they engage with you. And generally, only things you reveal will actually engage with you.
Do map modifiers from the area you entered the Wildwood from affect the Wildwood, or is it a completely separate zone in that regard?
The map mods do affect it, yes. And
oh, wow.
Where it doesn't increase the amount of wisps you get, it does increase the loot you get in general, which multiplicatively applies with the bonuses the wisps give monsters afterwards. So you are obviously, to get the max rewards like normal, you're incentivized
but
to
pack size works on the monsters in the Wildwood.
Oh yes.
And because pack size works on them, that means you do get more wisps if you increase pack size. Because they're part of the drops of those monsters as well.
There are monsters that have wisps already in them in the forest, and they will give wisps. So yes, pack size will increase the amount of wisps you can get.
Patch notes win.
Which actually means that pack size can increase the duration that you can stay in the Wildwood, if I understand that correctly.
Different wisps.
Oh, different. All right, because that's the right. Okay, so it doesn't. It's just increase the rewards then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just more rewards.
Yeah.
And
Between this and the wisps you're
difficulty.
freeing, it sounds like a bit of a map juicing league then.
That was what I was going for. I really like things like Delirium where they overlap with all the other leagues.
Yep.
It's worth noting on that point. You might think, okay, the wisps disperse into the air and affect monsters once you exit. It will also affect monsters that are then spawned afterwards. So if you then go and activate a breach, there is like a portion of the breach monsters will be dusted as well, and thus their rewards and difficulty will also be increased.
Yep, streamless today. It's right now.
Yeah, it overlaps with any area league, I believe, as long as the monster gives loot and experience.
Map juicing league, I'm here for it, dude.
If it doesn't, you don't really care about it. So
this league sounds cracked. I like it. All right. Talking a bit about Ultimatum, the long-awaited return.
At long last.
It has been a long time in the returning. Did you face some specific challenges with its re-implementation or something?
Main challenge, I guess, was finding time to actually do the rebalance and reassess it. But like once we found the time, which we did, we got through all that, and I mean, now it's finally coming back. But yeah, it just comes down to time. We've got so much we always want to do, and just finding the resources to be able to get someone to fully reassess it and make the changes that we want it can be challenging for sure.
So it's not just something you wanted to just slap back in as it was. Then it sounds like it's changed a fair bit.
It's had a substantial amount of work done to it. Like, it is quite a lot there. There's a lot there. Yeah.
And obviously, it's going to be very different to how it was given the Atlas passives.
We haven't
well,
seen
and
a
how
ton
you
of the
can
balance
modify it and
changes, but
change
there
it,
is a
which
pretty
will
big
be
amount of balance
relatively
changes.
fun. But
Yeah.
taking that into consideration as well is
But
something
maybe
that
not
we
the way
didn't
you're
have to deal with
expecting.
before that we do now.
Why do you think that Ultimatum was so popular and so requested to return that it was like the #1 thing asked about at ExileCon? Is there anything to like learn from that for future league designs?
Circle
Well,
good.
I think about it, and also why do I think I like it? I mean, the mod selection is fun. I like how it works in parties as well, and I like, for people who know my Aurabot addiction, I love playing in parties where you get to vote on the mods and you go and pick the mod that no one wants just because you want to. Or you're an Aurabot and you pick that mod that causes your auras to apply to the enemies, and you just then hopefully your teammate, yeah.
And the double or nothing stuff is also very. I don't want to use the word addictive because that's a bad word these days, but definitely addictive.
Oh, I love that, and I think a lot of people resonate with that as well. Where you when you've got the divine orbs on the line, or the headhunter on the line, or like just whatever items on the line, it's like the thrill is just, you know, it gives you that adrenaline rush that like I almost used to get in hardcore league. You know, when I actually played that a lot more. Rest in peace.
It's risk reward, to put it another way, right? It's good risk reward stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
I think it had like a unique pacing too, with like intense action, break, intense action, break.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like that as well a lot. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say too many lessons learned aside from just like, or like, you know, how we can use things in the future. But I guess, yeah, ultimately the risk reward and the pacing are probably the two biggest ones.
Do you want to talk about what happened with the combat changes to do with rare monsters and stuff in Ultimatum?
Yeah, I think it was around the time there was a lot of there was a bit of like, how do we make this harder that went on, and it ended up just cranking the rare monsters up. Like there was just points where there were like 9 rare of those blood chieftains on your screen.
The
and
monkey gangbang.
The problem with that, especially with like
my favorite,
now looking at rare modifiers, like the level of visual pollution that adds. And like you can't even tell what's happening. Like there was a lot of going on in that league where there's just a massive crossfire of projectiles and just like a whole bunch of rare monsters, and like so we've gone with almost a more what we call expedition style balance, which is just like tone that down but make each monster individually more difficult and more meaningful. So it should be that it is less like more comprehensible in the moment as to what you're actually fighting and what you're actually doing, and still difficult, as opposed to just like spam everything, like crank up the rare monster number to infinity. But that's mostly, I think, of what's going on. It's just, which is honestly been working pretty well with respect to our monster balance lately. Right.
So Metamorph is getting removed as a part of this.
Thank goodness, dude.
Coming back of Ultimatum, with its unique rewards going to Ultimatum. Can you tell me a little bit about that decision, like to remove Metamorph?
Because it sucks.
There's a few things going on there, but the first is just the visual clarity of it again. Going back to that, like you put these monsters together and then it just does this kind of like morphing thing. I mean, look, I've played this a lot, and it transforms into something and then I'm dead. I'm like,
probably
I don't
just
even
in
know
the
what
main
just
pool,
happened.
yeah.
Like, what killed me here? I actually don't know. And it is meant to be the case that obviously I know what monsters I'm putting in, and I'm like, I'm putting in this monster, this monster, this
maybe
monster.
an
I know these
ultimatum,
do this
either
skills,
or.
and because this one's in the brain slot, it does this big AoE. But the reality is, like, that's way too much to try and know and remember, and like, there's hundreds of monsters with hundreds of skills going on there, and it's like you can't really tell. And so when you do put it together, it's like, oh, I like these rewards, and you put those in, and that's ultimately what you do as a player for that. And so you put in a monster, it spawns, and you maybe just insta die or you maybe not. And getting that right is just pretty impossible, I would say. Like, I love the mechanic in a nutshell of you get to put monsters together to create a new boss fight, but it just wasn't working.
It was never my favorite league visually either. I just don't think it really looks that great.
Oh
no, we dropped. I'm sure we'll get things back in just a second here, folks. Until then, enjoy the sliver of the side of my head while we get things repaired. We'll be back in just a moment.
He has a technical difficulties thing. Yo, that's great. I love it. They're prepared, dude. Yeah, I agree, dude. It's done. Let's call it and let's get them patch notes, brother. Patch notes win. Patch notes win. No patch notes. That was bad, man. 23 messages. All right, boys. What do we think? I'm feeling like League Start's not going to be very much different. Actually, I think the League Start builds are going to be pretty much all the same, unless they do some like massive rebalancing of the skills themselves, which I don't think they'll actually do. I think they're just adding a bunch of skills, to be honest with you. How useful will the patch notes be without info on all the new gyms? Won't all the info for all the new gyms be in the patch notes? Man, we didn't get like anything. Technically, we got one new in-game boss. Don't they typically do gym info last minute, like day or two before? Maybe, who knows? Who knows? I guess I can turn this back on. It's probably gonna spam for a little bit, sorry. Oh, it didn't spam. Nice. Yeah. I mean, we kind of got Atlas Masteries. I wasn't expecting new Ascendancies though. Yeah, we have to do lab now, dude. It's time to take me out back, boys. Banana Boy, they said that it's not affected by anything, I think, except like the map modifiers or whatever. Looking like a skip for me again. Really? I think this is a login league, dude. So, yeah.
It's working now.
Welcome back, folks. Apologies for the technical difficulties.
Yep.
We are back.
Discord just decided to self-destruct for some reason and then required a computer reboot to get back in action again.
I think you guys might have made Tane a little mad.
Yeah, Metamorph was a little bit unhappy about being removed, apparently.
So that brings us back to what we were talking about, just about Metamorph's removal, and basically it was a bit of a visual mess and a bit of like a gameplay feedback mess in terms of players not really knowing why they were.
Unfortunately, White, it's a meme.
And there was actually one other one. I don't know if you want to talk about it or I can, but I think it actually was surprisingly Metamorph was like quite annoying from a maintenance perspective. Like there was quite a lot
new skills.
Like every time we added a monster, we had to do stuff relating to Metamorph, and like also the way it was originally made was
100
just like
different things.
A bit annoying. So
sorry,
there was certainly some.
Sorry, you got debated.
Certainly, there were a lot of designers who were happy to see it gone as well.
I'm gonna control F Ruthless and then rage about it for 5 seconds and then go read everything else.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean for sure, but it's like there was certainly a lot of factors there.
There's gonna be people that
Another
will farm
thing about
it,
it, I
and
guess
then you just buy the
the
stuff
meta
from it, right?
endgame thing where you put together 5 boss parts and do it in his lab, like
yeah.
There was that sad thing where because that area was a standalone area, it never got map mods. Like it felt like often the rewards and the difficulty were just underwhelming relative to doing them in the area. I mean, you're less likely to just get insta-killed in there at least. So in some ways it did it better in that it was more controlled and telegraphed. But in the other sense, it was just too easy. Like the thing spawned and then just died within 3 seconds often. The life wasn't high enough. There's no map mod damage. Like, yeah. So it was just due for its removal, honestly.
Yeah, I certainly agree with a lot of issues that Metamorph had and experienced a lot of them myself, but I do think there was a good idea there. And like you said, with the boss parts going together, that actually felt like it worked a little bit more. But like you said, it wasn't quite there. So something to play with in the future, maybe.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The idea is, there is a sound idea there for sure that I'd like to see if we can play around with later and re-envision in some way.
Enchantments are gone,
hopefully.
yes.
Yeah, you get the
Completely.
situation where
All qualities are also gone.
in order to keep it, you kind of want to do all the work to rework it, and if you're doing all that work, you may as well just bring Ultimatum back.
So, this does raise a question you haven't had to deal with before, where you've removed a mechanic now that has a premium tab that people have purchased. What is the plan for that?
So that tab, so due to Catalyst moving to Ultimatum and there being the inscribed ultimatums, that tab is just immediately converted to an Ultimatum tab. So it'll have, the Catalyst will now store
That's
there,
decent.
and your inscribed ultimatums will also, I think there's 60 slots for inscribed ultimatums in there as well. So
Yeah, seems good.
you don't need to buy a new one, it'll automatically transfer over.
Perfect. Sounds great. All right. Let me just see if there's any
There's
other
apparently
ultimatum
new,
questions. With Middle out of the game will be another
reworked-
master hideout NPC to replace Tane.
What's it called? Uniques? Iced uniques?
Not currently, no.
All right. Can ultimatum be blocked on the Atlas passive tree so that it doesn't appear?
Yes, it can. The same node that blocked Metamorph has been changed to a new node that blocks Ultimatum.
All right. Cool. We have a bunch of questions about transfigured gems. This is a big one, and chat also has a bunch of questions about it too, I can tell. So this new transfigured gem system's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Is this replacing labyrinth enchantments, alternate qualities, and threshold jewels entirely?
Short answer, yes. It is replacing it. Belt enchants are gone, boot enchants are gone, etc.
Oh, belt enchants are gone.
I like in the sense that it reopened, because those were very old designs. I mean, sure, the belt enchants came newer, but it does free up a lot of design space to use in the future. And with a lot of the changes to quality and what the gems are doing themselves, like the loss is ultimately
I didn't think about that.
inconsequential.
I didn't think about belt and boots.
So yeah, they're gone.
Deal with it. All right. Are
There's a
there,
bunch
are
of
there
really
multiple
good boon
different
enchants.
transfigurations for each skill, or is there one for each? It seems like so many new gems, effectively.
So, I mean, we're still cranking them out. Like, we're not going to stop until there's a cutoff, effectively, and then we'll probably add them later if we still feel like we have to. But we're aiming for 1 per primary damaging skill minimum, but 2 maximum. So it's 1 to 2 per skill, but auras don't get them, heralds don't get them, utility stuff don't. We're really focusing on your main skills that you would primarily normally 6-link and whatnot. I mean, I know you can do higher link herald builds, but you know,
that limit of 2 maximum is just in the context of this particular expansion. If it's a popular system, we can make many in the future.
Yeah.
It allows us to, like, so there's this thing where, like, cleave is cleave, and you could change cleave to something. You could change cleave, but now you're ruining this, the kind of like simple thing it is at level 2. You get it at the game, you just want to cleave stuff. So overcomplicating that to try and make it more interesting and new is honestly not the right answer. It's kind of the thing that's happened to a lot of skills. So now with this alternate gem system, we get to take those ideas that people have of like how we can be transformative with something like cleave, and we get to just add that skill gem without having to compromise that early game experience. And that I think is very, very valuable. And
yeah, I like it.
I mean, the possibilities are endless, as I guess I could say, right? Like,
I like that there's
so
like
how do you be transformative
alt
with something
gems.
like cleave? I'm curious. How do you approach that?
Well, I don't know. Like, I can either talk about what we've actually done or talk about what we could do.
Both.
I mean, something is you could. Well, actually, okay. Let's go with what we have done. I think what we've done with it, and there's some details here I might be wrong on, or something that might have changed. But
Here we go, boys.
I think right now you have to be using a sword and an axe, so 2 different weapons, which is interesting. I believe it also scales. I think it generates rage and scales AOE based on rage. So it's kind of like pushing you to be a rage build. So it's worth noting, like, that might sound more niche, and that is the point. The alternate gems, the transfigured gems, are generally more niche.
Interesting.
But the power opportunity is much higher as a resultant of that. So they will scale way better into in-game, and it will save us the problem of just having this extreme like power curve of damage on cleave just to try and make it do an absurd amount of AoE again. So
are there any other cleave?
I think we've just got the one right now. We experimented with a few others. I think there's one with Impale, but I think we've gone with that on Double Strike now, and like some stuff with bleeding, but it's gone on something I did so many. There's the hundreds of these things, and we've gone through so many hundreds of iterations that forgive my memory a little bit. But
that's hype, dude. Actually hype.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there for sure.
How does this affect Val gems? Do these new versions have Val versions or only the originals?
These new version, well, technically the way it is worked now is just you can have a Val alternate cleave, and that just grants Val cleave, but it doesn't have the same mechanic, so it won't have the rage thing. It like technically the Val skill is a separate ability, and so yes, it can be corrupted to grant that extra ability, but it doesn't have the same properties. No.
Gotcha. Yeah. So are they always going to be just strictly better? Because that's just that cleave version sounds better than regular cleave, or is it sometimes going to be they're just quite different?
It's strictly better if you embrace the niche. Yes.
Right.
So if you are investing in rage and specking into and using the sword and axe,
that's actually
then yes,
really
of course,
cool.
it's better.
I mean, you can't exactly say that the one that has zombies falling from the sky is strictly better, right? It's just a totally different. It's just a totally different thing.
I mean, it's objectively better.
Pretty
There's no
It
question
does
there.
depend on your definition of better, of course. But I'm talking about just like raw clear speed or raw, boss killing speed. Yes, from that measure, like especially with respect to the low level skills, that is often going to be the case if you embrace that build and that kind of more niche build. But yes, again, there are plenty that are like hard to compare. Like the Frost Bomb is a good example. Like different. It's now a clearing skill as opposed to a more utility focused skill. Not having the cooldown, for example. So a lot of them fill different roles, and so they can't really be compared one to one. But yeah.
I mean, it's definitely going to shift the meta a lot, like just because there's going to be, there's a lot of new stuff to try there. So
it's shifting it enough that if people were to ask me what I'm going to play, I actually genuinely have no idea. I honestly am.
Actually, unironically,
I'll find out in the last day probably. But
make it, yay.
Is this something you'll might explore with utility skills or support gems, things like that as well in the future?
That's what it seems like, Spectre.
It's a big maybe. Yep. Support gems.
Bone Shadow Juggle work well with the league mechanic. It should be fine.
I mean,
the thing with support gems is you can just add more support gems and you don't need to worry about modifying the existing ones really. So
you may as well just add more.
Yeah.
Alternate heralds. It can be done in some cases. Yes, it can be.
Like purity and
we'll see whether or not it finds need for it. It's just in those cases, it's like it goes from giving buff A to buff B. Like doing it with an aura, like you'd have to do something very wildly different to make it really transformative. Otherwise, you're going from, just giving a certain stat to giving another stat, and that's not really what it's about.
Yeah. What does this mean for Heist in terms of it losing one of its big rewards, but also like specific heists that were gem type heists and whatnot?
So the way, how that works now is that every single tile set just can. So the rewards are no longer bound to the, I should say, the rewards from the display cases at the end.
Yeah.
At the end of the blueprints are no longer bound to the tile set of the base item type of the blueprint.
That's a big change.
So, so you can get kind of any of the rewards. You can get replicas from any of them. You can get alternate base types from any of them, or experimented base types, and you can get now currency. One thing we did do is buff the currency. Like we did certainly obviously acknowledge losing the gems removes some of the value from running Heist, quite a lot of it. So we buffed the currency just to make it better. So when you do get to the end, you have less like miss cases where you just get like 2 chance orbs. It's like that from completing a blueprint, that's just like completely insufficient. We have added new focusing, trying to make chase ones, but as it's pretty hard to reliably make chase uniques because the meta and the players kind of ultimately control what that is. But we've tried to add more powerful ones. We have rebalanced a number of replica uniques, and we've rebalanced a lot of experimented base types, including trying to emphasize that the jewelry, the amulets and the rings have some very, very powerful alternatives. Honestly, they're probably probably the best amulet you can get now is an experimented base type amulet, but obviously they're pretty hard to find, and you'd have to craft it, of course.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier.
Replica uniques, I believe.
Yes, I believe there's 5 new replica uniques. Yeah,
and 10 other uniques in this expansion, so 15 new uniques total.
Yeah,
I don't think we mentioned that in the.
Yeah.
Nice. So safe to say, Heist will be something you'll be keeping a close eye on then to make sure that the rewards are up to par now after this removal.
I hope so for sure. I mean, me personally, I'm just excited about those experimented base type amulets and rings. Like before, we had the -1 prefix +1 suffix, and now you've got like -3 prefix +3 suffix and -3
You can only
suffix
have one flask, but it has like 800% effect.
It's like, what kind of ring can you make when you've got 6 prefixes? Is that better? Is that worse? Or like 6 suffixes? And then there's like ones that reduce the amount of prefixes but increase the potency of suffixes and stuff like that. And so
stop hearing about this, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez.
Get that facial expression as well when I'm.
It's like, you sure about this?
Yeah.
Jonathan and I have seen the code to handle this stuff, and we're both like, "Ooh, how does?"
No, it's just Hey,
it's good.
Interesting.
Nice. Cool. I like when seeing devs learn about these things for the first time. So good.
There's always so much going on that it is nearly impossible for everyone to know everything.
Existing all qualities.
For sure, yeah.
Like in standard?
So people are obviously pretty excited about the transfigured gems.
Standard, they might
quite
stay.
exciting, and that's a lot of effectively new skills
otherwise
for us to
they're
play
gone.
with. But it does kind of raise the question about one of the more controversial decisions with this change is that, the Labyrinth, it has fairly different gameplay than most of Path of Exile. It's got like a lot of environmental hazards and traps and puzzles and a labyrinthian layout, and naturally that's not exactly super wildly popular content for people to run. Not everyone wants to play that.
A hard question.
So can you tell me about the decision to make Transfigured Gems specifically a reward for Labyrinth, especially since it looks like something that you'll want to run a lot to get more of them?
Mm-hmm. Well, a few things to talk about here. I mean, the Labyrinth is, I understand. I understand how some people feel about it and people don't. But one thing is, it is core content that you do run through the campaign and you do to Ascend. And we wanted it to be that the Transfigured Gem system is accessible there, as opposed to, like, say, where alternate qualities were in Heist, even though there was a kind of soft mandatory nature of having alternate qualities. It's like, well, it was the same problem. I don't want to run Heist, let's say, in a given league, or someone does and someone doesn't, and so you have to trade for them. And so for that case, it's the exact same thing, right? You can trade for these Transfigured Gems, of course.
I will be trading for them.
But we've done 2 things as well. So obviously when you get to the end of it, you put your gem in, you can pick from the one of 3 outcomes. It maintains its level and its quality as to what you put in. So the skill doesn't just become worse, at least in that regard. But sometimes there is an option that will transform it directly into its transfigured counterpart, which means if you don't want to, take the gamble and just keep trying to pick random ones, you can wait for that and convert your, say, Firestorm directly into a transfigured Firestorm. So that at least will make that a bit easier. But yeah, ultimately, I wanted it to be somewhere where it was introduced early enough, around level 30 is about right. So you're not waiting until end game before you can get these. Like, a player can experience these through the campaign, get a feel for them, get used to them, and level them up, instead of getting to end game and then completely changing their entire build. Like, it being early enough, and Labyrinth is around the point where that is like, a good place to commit to that. And also, you're already doing it for your Ascendancy, so it's a good way to introduce the mechanic to those players, as opposed to just kind of putting it somewhere a little bit random and a little bit hidden. So that's the primary motivation.
Path of Exile has a lot of content that is going to vary depending on player taste. Some people like Delve, some people don't. And that content has specific rewards, and those rewards are almost always tradable. And so in this case, if you want one of the gems, you can also trade for it if you don't like Labyrinth.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm interested in that idea of like players running into it as a course of their regular gameplay. Does that mean there's a pretty good likelihood then that each time you run like Normal Crawl and Merciless Labyrinth and whatnot for the first time, and say you only do them those times, that you're going to actually get a pretty relevant gem reward upgrade each run?
The option is always there. So one of the crafts on the bench is always to convert it to a transfigured gem. So it's not like that one's random. Yep. Whether or not you'll get the one you exactly want, obviously isn't reliable, but you will always get... so if you put in the common one that's put there is if you put in an int gem, you will get a transfigured int gem back. So at least it's likely if you put in a spell, you'll get a spell. And if you don't want to take it, you can just be like, no, I don't want it, and take your gem back, and then try again next time. So it doesn't like force you to. So you can put your primary skill in there, hoping for the best. And if you don't get it, you take it back, and then just keep playing your build, or you run it again if you want, or you can wait till crawl and run it. And it is
I thought
worth
it would be
that,
like based on the
let's
gym
say
itself.
I know this
Like
is
if you put in
later
cleave,
the game,
you'd
but
get
the
cleave.
Uber Labyrinth has 2 crafts by default instead of 1 now. So when you get to the end, you get a few more opportunities at doing it, and that's like one tactic could be knowing that the easiest labyrinth is the shortest and easiest to get through. Obviously, being lower level and shorter, you can at like a high level player could just go and run that a number of times just to try and get the right transfigured gem. But obviously you won't get a lot of the good crafts and a lot of the good rewards that also come from it. But if that was your way to try and get your most appropriate transfigured gem the fastest, like that is a tactic you could do. So it's not really meant to be ultra taxing and time consuming to try and get the one you want.
I will be buying them.
But again, as said, if you
lag,
buy it.
That sounds like, from a reward perspective, that it's quite good for both lab runners and also people just doing it just the once as they go through. So I like the reward sounds of that. But are there any planned changes to running the labyrinth itself or making the labyrinth better in the future?
We went over that a lot. And as a simple, again, going back to we think of it like this: we could have done that, or we could have added ultimatum. It's a resourcing problem. Not to say those are the 2 options, but what I'm saying is that it is very what it needs is a lot of love, and we need the time to do it. So yes, we had a massive list of changes of things we wanted to do, and we just couldn't find the time to do it. So it is something I definitely would love to do later, for sure. Because
all right, next league, guys. Good, nice, cool. Sounds good.
I was about to joke, confirmed, but that's a bit dangerous.
I said it for you.
Next week, so yeah.
Will we get to see all the gems before launch? The transfigured gems?
It is our intention to start posting them, yes. As we're still churning through them, I think our plan is to start posting, we'll do a series of posts. I could be wrong. The community team can correct me at some point, but I think it's to do a series of posts, and as we then make more, we'll just do more posts and just keep adding them until the last very possible moment.
It's worth mentioning with this kind of content, because it's so parallel and because so many, every gem is optional because there are so many possibilities. We just start 200, and then the ones that are finished get released, and the other ones get released later or scrapped, and we don't know what the set is going to be currently, and we're just going to keep going till the last minute getting these in, and yeah, it should be interesting.
All right. For standard players, what's happening to existing alt quality gems and lab enchant items and stuff like that? Are they sticking around?
I think the enchants remain. Alt quality gems, I do believe. All of this will be in the patch notes after this, so I might say some wrong stuff, but I do believe alt quality gems just get converted to regular quality, retaining the value.
But the quality, the quality that is now different because we've changed.
Oh yeah, well it's worth noting that the quality on every or almost every single gem, I think the word quality appears 314 times in the patch notes.
Jesus.
There has been a substantial quality adjustment to all the skills. I know this is tangential from the question a little bit.
No wonder the patch notes are so long.
We're going with a more multiplicative approach there. So instead of just a lot of gems being 20% increased damage or 10% increased attack speed, we're trying to really look at what is the skill doing. Like if it's something that is about duration, we instead add duration, but instead of doing 20% increased duration, we're adding +1 or 2 seconds, or plus 0.1 per quality kind of thing. So it's meant to be more multiplicative as opposed to increases, because there were skills where obviously the more of the increase you have on the passive tree, the worse the quality becomes, or vice versa. So yeah, but this is, I think, changed with a lot of the base skills as well, mind you. I think discharge in particular is one where it's it has increased area of effect per charge consumed, where that obviously could get it to a massive amount of increased area of effect, which means if you're playing that build, then investing into a 10% increased area of effect node on the tree is ultimately doing nothing. You're going from 200% increase to 210. It kind of doesn't really matter. But now, so that's been changed to be multiplicative as well. So as we've gone through and done this qualities, we've tried to do that on a lot more gems to make the gem more about its base stats, and the passive tree is multiplying that as opposed to adding with those stats, which does yield a fairly large amount more power for a lot of these skills.
That sounds like a quality change. I love it. Sorry, couldn't help. We are just about, we've run over time, but just a couple more questions before we finish up today. So in the past, it was pretty typical for expansions to come packaged with some pretty substantial changes to skill balance. Obviously, we're getting like a ton of new skills. That's obviously affecting like skill meta.
Here's the question.
And whatnot. But the last few leagues haven't really had much in the way of skill balance, and we're finding like, player expectations there. And is that something that you're continuing to like not do, or any thoughts about that?
Again, a lot of it comes down to honestly time, but for this one, I really wanted to do something that wasn't just playing that almost cat and mouse game of like upskill A and then next league upskill B to be comparable, and then maybe it goes too far, so then you upskill A again, and if you don't do that, it's just nerf central, right? So where we do that for some extreme cases where we bring them down, I wanted to do something that really wasn't just, let's up cleave by 10% and something else by 10%. And again, noting I don't want to add mechanical complexity to a lot of skills, especially early, because it just makes them more convoluted and confusing. So this was a system that allowed us to not play that game, but yet add thousands and thousands or millions of possible permutations. And
I like this.
We're going to be less hesitant, given time resources, less hesitant to change the balance and change alternate gems or add new ones. So it's given us a system that allows us to do future balance a lot without compromising kind of that core game and that new player experience at all.
It does. It's also like, the quality changes are a pretty substantial balance change to existing skills. Like that's a big.
Oh no, that is
a big thing.
for sure. And and a number of skills have changed. Like what we've done is simplified some base skills because we have, and then what we've done is taken what they were doing. So an example of something we're trying to do, I don't actually know if we've done this because so maybe not. I know I probably shouldn't mention things like this, but for example, you get ethereal knives, and it's got all this talk about lingering blades going on. And yeah, most people who play the game in advance know what lingering blades are, but like a new player is not going to know that at all. So ideally we return EK to its former glory of what it was. And then we add an alternate gem that's really emphasizing that lingering blades mechanic and benefiting from that. And then we add another alternate, how many more alternate gems we want to. So it's allowing us to restore some of those, especially lower level gems, to their simplest forms.
Implementation,
as what they should be, and then also give them a rebalance. I think often it's resulting in them being a little bit stronger early, which is going to change a little bit. But I like the resultant a lot better, where you're not getting overwhelmed with this kind of almost unnecessary information early. And then you get this alternate gem that's really emphasizing that mechanic more. And if you then go down that path, it can become even stronger than it ever was.
If a player is approaching the feedback of there need to be balance changes based on the fact that they feel there's some staleness in the metagame, if they feel they're playing the same kind of pool of builds for a number of leagues in a row, then the transfigured gem stuff will have fixed that, right? Like, every build is now affected by there being multiple different versions of the skill available.
For sure.
There will be, it is going to look entirely different. And it's worth noting, Transfigured Gems came from me sitting down with Mark and saying, the players have an expectation for significant balance changes. The problem is we can't really do any. We've hit the point of like having to make the skills more complicated. What can we do? And Mark suggested Transfigured Gems, which, as Jonathan Blow would say, there was immediately tons of gold on the ground to pick up with that design thing, right? It's not so much cool stuff we can do, and absolutely is going to affect every build in the game.
What the hell is this, dude?
Great. So conversely, talking about ascendancy
Level
changes,
29 added cold damage is actually pretty big.
A pretty big overhaul, but its rework seemed to have few fans in the end. It's at around 2% pick rate for most of the league in softcore, although it did gain some fans in hardcore, it seemed, at least. What sort of goals do you have for like larger ascendancy changes like that, and do you feel like the chieftain hit the mark?
2%'s not bad, to be honest. It's still 10 times higher, 20 times higher than what it was. Or maybe even infinitely higher, because I think it was 0.0% for a while. Obviously rounding. But honestly, I would say it didn't quite hit the mark. But like, there's a fine line to tread when it comes to ascendancy balance. Like, 2% is probably less of a failure than 25%. Because if everyone's playing it, it's ridiculous. Or we go back to like Slayer Cyclone era where there's 51% or something. I'm going off Pro Ninja numbers, obviously, so high level players. But
I miss Slayer Cyclone,
that's That's within a kind of like
Bring it back.
realm of
I'll take the
acceptability.
50%,
But yes,
dude.
I would say
Just
like
give
in
it.
an ideal world, it would have been a little bit better than
just
what
give
it
it
was.
back,
So,
dude.
but
Please.
geez, it's hard to get that perfectly right, like for sure. But yeah, and obviously, if something does get used in hardcore and sees more use there, that is something we like to see, and that's cool. Whether or not it's intentional or accidental, you know, generally it's just the players discovering what's best. Like we don't plan around that kind of thing. But yeah.
Is it something you're gonna continue working on then? Like not Chieftain specifically, but also just in general, trying to get something right with those pre-existing ascendancies?
It'll every so often it's going to come up where we rebalance a given set of them, or maybe we do a like wide sweeping numerical changes, or maybe we take 2 and completely redesign them, or take 1 and redesign it. But again, it's all at the expense of something else, and we just have to weigh those decisions. Like again, there's no time to do that when you have, you know, 100 to 200 between there of transfigured gems to make. You know, it's the same people doing those things, so. We just have to make those choices as to what we want to do. And maybe there is a better metagame thing we could be doing, but eventually we're going to circle back to them and we're going to rebalance them or remake them, yeah.
And you did add 3 new ascendancies in this expansion.
Yeah, well, yeah, technically, yes, there are 3 new ascendancies, yes.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much for spending so much time with us for
Finally.
Q&A today. We did run a bit over time. I appreciate that, and it was a pleasure to talk to you
Refreshing
all.
the
Thank you,
main
Chris,
site
Jonathan,
over and over again.
Thank
Thank you
you
very much. It's appreciated.
Thanks.
Well,
Thank
great
you.
to talk to you.
And I
Righty.
hope to see some epically crazy builds on release day.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Hardwood.
Thanks very much for watching, folks.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Come on, this is the last thing. Thanks for watching. Yep. All right.
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Yo,
Thanks for
Rick.
Wingstocks. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing okay. I could talk about me a little bit. I haven't talked about me basically at all this entire time. There it is. Okay, I just want to get this loaded. I just wanted to get this loaded. Okay, we'll talk about me later. Fuck that shit. All right, Affliction Challenge League. Let's take a look quickly. I'm gonna do a video that'll be my first priority as soon as stream is over to deep dive into these and figure out all the other stuff. Here, there's the link if you care. Okay, so I got it loaded, so now I don't have to worry. So let's go through this quickly because I'm gonna be going in and doing a deep dive. Okay, so ultimatums in the core game. Yep. 4 new divination cards, that's fine. So they added most of these in. They didn't add the ring, and they didn't add the jewel. Okay. 16 new unique items total, 7 of those being replicas, 5 new experimented base types, 633 more foils. Yo, the Ranger got audio dialogue for part 2. We can hear about how she hates men so much and loves the outdoors and mountains. Pog, dude. All right, ultimatum changes. Let's see. 10 rounds by default. Okay. Now have a chance to be teleported to the Trial Masters Arena. Cool. 10th round. Level 81 or higher. Okay. Ultimate modifiers have been rebalanced. That's fine. 4 tiers of difficulty. Monsters and ultimatum encounters no longer drop loot other than the Trial Master, though they still grant experience. Do we know about the Tainted Catalysts? Affected by map item quant. I just heard Goob scream some very questionable language just now. Holy fuck. Vault aspects combine into a new unique jewel instead of the Tower of Ordeals. Ooh, interesting. A new unique jewel. Unique jewels are typically extremely powerful right now, so that's interesting. You can once again vendor 5 and scrub ultimatums. Okay. Round count, yep. Yeah, Igor, take care. I'll put the video up probably sometime in the next hour or two, most likely, if I can get it done that quickly. Patch notes will probably be the first video I put up, and then I'll probably do like my take on everything. Let's see, existing amorphous. Okay, so we get ultimatum delirium orbs. Interesting. This is the only source of challenging delirium orbs. Existing amorphous will be replaced by challenging delirium orbs with the ultimatum item reward type to maps. It's the only source of challenging delirium orbs. They are unattainable to item drops or from any other source. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Expedition Remnant modifiers that grant runic monster chance are replaced with heist contracts. Okay. Reduce them from heist chest. Metamorph scarabs have ultimatum scarab. Each scarab guarantees an ultimatum encounter in an area with a higher tier scarab granting increased experience from ultimatum monsters or causing ultimatum encounters to grant additional rewards. Interesting. More experience? Not sure how I feel about that. Ultimatum map mods, ultimatum clusters. New ultimatum clusters contains the face of the ultimatum notable passel. God, I don't even know what I said there. Notable provides your maps with 15% chance to contain an encounter, plus 5, so it's 30, right? 30 total. Prove yourself worthy and stand your ground. The 7 small passes in this cluster either cause ultimatum encounters in your maps to spawn 8% increased number of monsters. Okay. Prove yourself worthy causes ultimatum modifiers in your map to start a tier higher and causes rewards in your maps to have a 20% chance to be duplicated. That's pretty crazy. Oh, and it makes the zone smaller. New ultimatum cluster. 5% chance to contain an encounter. Okay. Ruinous wager. Ruin with their special abilities. Ultimatum monsters and modifiers in your map deal 50% less damage. Ultimatum encounters fail on reaching 7 ruin. All right, I'm gonna go through these later, but these aren't really big. There's just a bunch of like little stuff here I don't care too much about. We know this is gone. Oh. 1 out of 5 Ruthless specific changes. How big is this? Oh, it's actually not that big. Oh, wow. They nerfed Sentinels of Radiance in the Ruthless specific changes. Its melee damage has been reduced by 50%. The damage in area their burn has been reduced by 33% for Ruthless. Sentinel of Radiance. That's the only change in the whole list. That's just in Ruthless. So Guardian seems unchanged. Okay. Go back all the way up here. Alright, so when Delirium Fog has ceased its movement, walking out of the mist will no longer cause the Delirium Fog to dissipate. When Delirium Fog has ceased its movement due to players engaging in other league content, walking out of... Nice! That's actually huge. Reduce the drop rate of Forbidden Tomes. Reduce the drop rate of the Hour of Divinity and Gilded Chalice unique relics. Interesting. Okay, I don't really care about Atlas changes too much. It's too many to worry about. Yep, new things there. Okay, transfigured gems. We know about most of this. Modify your skill and support gems by turning them into transfigured gems. Add quality or experience to gems, or sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to open Azaro's chest. Interesting. That's actually kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So you can add quality or experience to gems. You can transfigure them, or you can sacrifice one for more treasure keys. I actually kind of like that. That makes the rewards for lab runners really good. We might be able to see more of the lab-only jewels too. Maybe the prices of those will come down. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah. The recipe for turning level 20 gems into a 20 quality gem no longer works. Non-awakened support gems is all it works for now. Interesting. Existing items will be deleted upon logging in. Prime and secondary regrading lenses, goodbye. Tainted blessings can no longer be attained. They temporarily disabled a bunch of div cards. Okay. Oh no, I just said there would be more jewels. Oh no. Oh, the price of them is going to go up so much. What? Grand Spectrum unique jewels can no longer drop from Azaro's treasure chests. They now drop from troves and vaults found throughout Merciless and Eternal Labyrinth. Those gems don't exist anymore, boys. Sorry. Those are gone. Just forget that those items even exist in the game. All right, good. Let's see. Logbooks. Torres Betrayal Fortification Safe House. Quality gems. Yeah, I don't care too much about that. Grand Heist rewards no longer differ based on type of blueprint area. We've done a rebalance the rewards of Heist. The rewards from chests and Grand's Heist, jobs required and required job level are still influenced by blueprint area. Okay. The Thief's Trinket slot is now unlocked when you first pick up a Thief's Trinket on that character rather than in the underbelly. Some of the more common but very low value currencies are no longer offered as rewards at the end of Grand Heists. That's kind of cool. So they put them in the stuff's lab runner skip? Yeah, pretty much. Maybe it'll make it so that you go and get those now. Increase the stack size of currency offered. Okay. The Endless Misery, Soul's Wick, and Spirit Guard unique jewels can no longer be obtained, as benefits these provided are now found on transfigured skill gems. Of course they made the Summon Spectre one useless, right? Okay. Anima Stone unique jewel no longer has +1 to maximum number of summoned golems. Golem builds should now be less dependent on this jewel to be effective and instead have transfigured skill gems available that serve a similar purpose. Dead Reckoning jewel no longer has summoned skeletal mages. It now causes skeletons to gain added chaos damage equal to energy shield of your equipped shield. Whoa, that's kind of crazy. Okay, let's look at the base changes. Increased cooldown recovery rate on Absolution is pretty insane. Increased effective mark. Don't care about ambush. Ancestral Cry. Cooldown recovery rate is higher. Quality now provides meters to melee strike range instead of increased totem damage. That's okay. Increased activation range is actually huge. Who cares about Warchief doing damage? No longer has increased minion life, increased physical damage with attacks. It now has more minion life and more minion damage at gem level 1, both scaling up to 38. Enemy Guardians now have 11% more base life inherently and now have 2 to 6 physical added damage while unarmed. So is it a wash? I don't know. We'd have to see. Okay, so additional animated weapons. Arc base critical strike chance got improved. 15% more damage with hits and ailments for each remaining change. For each remaining chain at all gem levels. Skill chains an additional time with quality. Okay. Armageddon brand now causes skills to deal 10% more damage with hits against branded enemies. That's pretty good. Artillery Ballista gets +1 arrow. That's pretty big. Ball Lightning now gives +0.2 meter to radius. Okay, I don't know how big that is. I'd have to check it later. Barrage gives an additional projectile, cooldown recovery rate, base duration, increased recovery rate for Berserk. Blade Blast no longer detonates Blade Vortex blades and no longer has 80% more area of effect per Blade Vortex blade detonated. Quality now provides meters to radius. Interesting. That's actually pretty decent, maybe? Because if you scale the quality, the base radius on Blade Blast is actually huge, right? Like, the whole problem with Blade Blast originally was the fact that the base radius got nerfed into oblivion. So now that you can scale this with quality, it might be good. And nobody ever used it with Blade Vortex, so it doesn't matter, right? Huh, Blade Blast might be good again. Okay, Blade Flurry does hits and ailments. Blade Trap lasts longer. Blade Vortex. No longer has increased crit strike chance for each blade. Now deals 3 to 5 gem damage at 1, scaling up to 140. Oh, it got a pretty big buff. One of the builds I wanted to work on was Blade Vortex. Yo, quality now provides increased hit rate for each blade. Huh. Blade Vortex might actually be good. I was planning on working on Blade Vortex. Whoa, Bladefall no longer leaves 50% fewer lingering blades to the ground if you don't cast a spell yourself. It also no longer has 100% increased critical strike chance. No longer has the critical tag. Quality now provides 0 to 1 volley instead of increased area effect. Whoa. So you can automate Bladefall now? Huh. Blade Storm, maximum Blade Storms, that's cool. Blast Rain is additional arrow, that's good. Blazing Salvo gets meteors to radius. I mean, I guess that's okay. Blink Arrow, I don't care too much about this. Body Swap. Oh wow, 4% of your max life is fire damage is pretty good. Are there nerfs this season? We haven't got to them yet. Quality now provides 1% more damage per trauma. Wow. Bone Shatter got buffed potentially? Question mark? Brand Recall got cooldown recovery rate. Burning Arrow now has more damage with Ignite. Chain Hook gives you more rage, boys. Charge Dash. Cleave. Oh boy, quality now causes Cleave to have plus 0.1 meters to radius per nearby enemy. Woo. Lash, Cold Snap, Consecrated Path. Contagion has more radius. Conversion Trap, who gives a shit. Crackling Lance, more damage per intensity is good. More meters per radius. Cyclone no longer has first hits, deal 50% less damage. Gain 1 stage every second while channeling. Lose 1 stage every second while not channeling. Now has 10% increased area of effect per 0.1 meter additional melee strike gem. Strike range at all gem levels. Quality now provides 0 to 10% more movement speed. So if you stack additional melee strike range, Cyclone might be good again? You might actually be able to get like more AoE on Cyclone now. Okay. Dark Pack sacrifices 2% of Skeleton's life to deal that much damage. Decoy Totem, Destructed, don't care. Detonate Dead, chance to detonate additional corpse. That's pretty good. More area of effect per charge consumed. Divine Ire now has 10 maximum stages. Beam now deals 240% more damage with hits per stage. Wow. It no longer has 50% less damage while channeling. 40% chance to gain an additional stage when hitting a normal magic enemy, or gains additional stage when hitting a rare unique enemy. Whoa. What does Divine Ire look like right now? So 250 more percent more damage with hits per stage. How many stages can it have? Oh, it was previously 20. But it gained 110% damage per stage. Now it gains 240. So this is a buff. It's actually a huge buff, because now it's more consistent. Divine Ire might be good again, but probably only on totems, and totems are kind of right now, but we'll see. Maybe we try playing Divine Ire totems again. Dual Strike. No longer increased critical strike chance. Increased more damage with hits and ailments against enemies that are on full life. Huh. It's going to do 90% more damage with hits and ailments against enemies that are on full life. What the fuck, dude? So you're going to go for like one big giant bleed? Is that what you're going to do? And you have to make sure it's the first hit that you do? Weird. 30% more damage with hits and ailments on Earthquake. More fissures. They're probably putting crit into the off versions if I had to guess. During Cry. Energy Blade. Quality now causes the buff to grant 0 to 5% more maximum energy shield. That's kind of crazy. Ethereal Knives. Quality now causes the skill to fire 2 projectiles additional. That's pretty good. Base duration. Explosive arrows. Maximum arrows stuck in the enemy. Explosive trap or smaller explosions. Eye of Winter. 2 shard projectiles in a spiral. Increase trap trigger area of effect. So Fireball now has a bigger meter radius. Doesn't get bigger as it goes though. Quality on Firestorm now gives meters to radius. Flame Blast gets max stages. Modifiers spell damage applied to the skill's damage over time effect. They want Flame Dash to be damage. Flame Wall, Flamethrower Trap. Alright, Freezing Pulse, Frenzy. None of these are that cool when I'm reading through them. Frostbomb, Frost Wall, Frost Blink. Galvanic Arrow gets projectile speed. Galvanic Field, no, not too great. Quality now causes every third successive strike to freeze enemies as though dealing 100% more damage. Interesting. 20% chance to deal double damage on quality with heavy strike now. Okay. Ice Nova no longer has 20% less area of effect when cast on Frostbolt, or adds cold damage against chilled enemies. It also can no longer expand from up to 2 Frostbolt projectiles. Oh. It now deals 23 to 34 cold damage Gem 1, which got buffed. Scaling to 1481, which got buffed. 230% effectiveness of added damage. I don't know. Is that better? It not doing added damage against chilled enemies and not being able to expand from 2 Frostbolts at the same time? That's pretty questionable. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of questionable. Intimidating intuitively, kinetic blast, kinetic bolt, that's fine. Lacerate, lancing steel. Quality now causes you to do an additional projectile instead of increased impale effect. Oh, that's not great. 1 additional projectile is okay, but increased impale effect is a lot of damage. Stun duration on enemies of full life. Yo, lightning arrow got +2 additional enemies near target. Whoa. That's kind of crazy. Lightning conduit gets more damage with hits per 5% shock on an enemy. That's pretty big. Additional projectile with lightning strike. Mirror arrow. No longer has minions deal increased damage or increase maximum life. Now has minions deal more damage as it scales up. Mirror clones now have 75% more base damage and 50% more base life inherently. Huh. Interesting. Penance Brand has been significantly simplified. It no longer spreads energy to nearby enemies or causes regular pulses while at max energy. It now immediately causes an explosion when the branded enemy reaches maximum energy. It no longer causes an explosion when it expires or detaches from an enemy. It no longer has an attached duration, so it remains attached to the enemy until it reaches maximum energy, then expires immediately once the explosion occurs. It no longer gains damage or radius per energy. It now deals way more base damage. Holy fuck, that's so much damage. Has an added damage effectiveness of 570%. Now deals 30% less damage with ailments. Is Penance Brand back? Holy shit. That's crazy.
Oh,
that is like literally crazy damage. Yo, Zerial, thank you for the prime. Appreciate you, gamer. Make sure to put those in the chat. That's crazy, dude. Penance Brand actually got a huge buff. Perforate. Now it does 155 and 155. So it just does more damage, but doesn't make additional spikes. Plague Bearer. Plague Bearer has additional damage based on plague value instead of AoE. Okay. Poisonous Concoction now applies Wither on hit. Interesting. Now fires projectiles at 4 to 7 nearby enemies instead of firing 4 to 7 additional projectiles. And gives 10 crit multiplier per power charge. Huh. Active link, don't care. Puncture. Fine. Purifying flame, more damage, period of elements, yeah. It's fine, all that's fine. Pyroclast mine, additional projectiles, whatever. Rain of Arrows quality is now 4 additional arrows, that's okay. 20% all elemental resistance on raised specters. So it follows them. That's what I think. So I guess it targets them. Zombies no longer attack enemies with an area of effect slam. They now only attack enemies with a melee attack. Gem now has minions have more maximum life, increased cooldown recovery, increased area of effect for the zombie's slam attack. Huh? Weird. Quality is an additional zombie. Rallying Cry. Reap. More damage per blood charge. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Righteous Fire. Righteous Fire doesn't have a base fire damage anymore. It now scales off of your maximum life and energy shield as base fire damage. That got doubled, but it doesn't have base fire damage anymore. Huh. That's a huge change. That's a massive change, actually. What's 35% of, like, say if you had like 6,000 health, 35% of 6,000 is 2,100. Is that a nerf? That actually might be a nerf. I guess it depends on how much life and energy shield you have. How much do you need to make it equivalent? 8,000 total health is 2,800. 7,000 total health is 2,450. So you need 7,000 total life and energy shield, I guess, to make it the same as it was before. I don't know. Not sure. Okay, rolling magma, chains 2 times, cool. Scorching ray, whatever. Scourge arrow, spore pods, additional arrows. Worse for league start, probably. Almost assuredly worse for league start, yeah. Searing bond, omega lull, 2 maximum totems, boys. Shattering steel. No longer consumes steel shards or grants steel wards or has any of its steel ward stats. No longer has base duration as 5 seconds. If you have no steel shards, only fires 1 projectile, or projectiles deal up to 50% damage with more steel shards consumed at the start of their movement. Lowering this bonus, they travel further. What? Is Shattering still just a normal ability now? What? What is Shattering Steel? So it always fires maximum projectiles now. It doesn't have more damage? Lancing Steel got an additional projectile, but what is Shattering Steel? Like, what does it do? Okay, all right. They just don't like steel skills, dude. They just like fucking them up, man. I'm scared to see splitting steel at this point. Okay, Shock Nova, yep. Shockwave Totem. Quality now provides meters to radius. Okay. Drop Ballista, Siege Ballista. Attack speed per maximum totem. Interesting. Sigil of Power now causes enemies in area to deal less damage. Yeah, like, I don't know, dude. Because, yeah, Shattering Steel used to give you, like, block projectile damage and stuff, and that just doesn't exist on it anymore. I'm curious to see what the alt qualities are on this, because, like, base Shattering Steel is just kind of, like, nothing now. Smite now provides more area damage. Smoke Mine now provides +1 maximum stage. Oh, yeah, we're getting there. Soul Link, Soul Rin no longer has increased projectile speed. This gym now also describes how many projectiles it fires instead of how many additional projectiles are fired. Quality now causes the skill to fire +2 projectiles. Interesting. Spectral Helix quality is ones that have pierced deal more damage. Spectral Shield Throw gets additional projectiles. Spectral Throw. Quality now causes supported skills to have added spell damage equal to 20% of damage of equipped wand. 2 wands are equipped. Each contributes half as much damage. Split arrow quality is additional arrows. No longer consumes steel shards or grants Call of Steel. No longer has projectiles which have split deal 35% less damage. Wait. Is this a buff? Is this like a huge buff? Oh no, they slowed it. It didn't have an attack speed modifier before. Yeah, you're not Chad, if you think that this is bad, you're not reading this. Doesn't grant Call of Steel. Meaning that you can just spam this ability now. No more Call of Steel. Like, you don't have to worry about, like, the charges or anything anymore. right? It just does what it does. And projectiles which have split deal 35% less damage. Like, keep in mind, returning projectiles should now work better with this, I think. Yeah? Because, like, the split ones don't deal less damage now. Yeah, like, the splits don't deal less damage, and you don't need to have Call of Steel for it anymore. None of the damage stuff changed. The only damage thing that changed is that it lost 10% total damage, but, I mean, it gained that with not having to use Call of Steel anymore. How bad does the less impale hurt? Not at all. You can get way over that percent chance to impale if you invest a little bit. 60% was already insane, right? This is actually pretty crazy. The splitting steel build might actually just be better now by like a lot. And it gives you 40% increased impale effect. Wow, splitting steel is actually going to be nuts, dude. Yo, you could probably league start splitting steel 100%. Yeah, you could probably just straight up league start splitting steel, like no issues whatsoever. Like just start with this ability and keep it the entire time. And then you use returning projectiles as one of the links. Since Lance was the most gated by the ammo system, isn't it like the most? It doesn't say anything about Call of Steel being removed from this. Shattering doesn't say it either. Oh, Shattering says no longer consumes steel shards. But Lancing doesn't say anything about steel shards. I know what they're doing. They're moving the steel shards mechanics to the new gyms. That's what I'm assuming. So, like, we'll have to see what that is, but, like, normal splitting steel just seems great now. Like, no more ammo system. It deals less damage because it's 90% of base, but you're not having to press Call of Steel anymore. One big thing about this, though, is that this massively reduces the damage that it does in Delirium. Most of the damage of the steel skills, when it came to Delirium zones, was from the Call of Steel, because it's reflected damage, so it like ignored all of their damage modifiers. Because if you remember in some of my old builds for this, like when you would hit Call of Steel and rip the steel shards out, it would like annihilate the enemies there. Normal splitting steel could be pretty good. I'm curious about this. Splitting steel might have a big league start potential. And like people aren't going to be annoyed with it anymore. That's pretty cool, actually. All right, Storm Call. Chance for lightning to strike the marker when cast. 15% chance for lightning to strike the marker when cast. What is Shattering Steel? I don't know what they did to Shattering Steel, to be honest with you. It just kind of seems bad. I don't know. Storm Ring gains each arrow can fire +1 beam. That's pretty good. Storm Blast might no longer have a chance to shock enemies. Now deals more lightning damage at base and max level. Increased effectiveness of added damage. Interesting. Golems have 20% more life and lost minion maximum life. And the quality gives buff effect now. Yo, Golems look like he kind of got buffed across the board. That's pretty crazy. They look like they all just got buffed across the board, like pretty heavily. No longer has minions deal 30% more damage. Instead, the Raging Spirit's melee attack now naturally gains its damage scaling with level. Yo, quality now provides 30% chance to summon an extra minion. Whoa, dude. Nerf to basic carrion builds. Did carrion golem get changed? I don't know. Did they forget corrupting fever? I don't know, maybe. This is pretty crazy though. Quality now provides a chance to summon and spawn an additional minion. You could potentially, would 2 minions per cast be worth dropping Unleash? Maybe. If you could scale quality on this, you might not have to go Unleash anymore, which would be pretty cool. Summon Reaper, whatever. Max summon skeletons per quality. Okay. Stone Golem buff. Sunder, don't care. Sweep. Tempest Shield, Temporal Rift. Tornado. Tornado Shot. What does Tornado Shot look like right now? The movement speed nerf? Yeah, I guess the movement speed does kind of suck, but you can get movement speed in lots of places. What does Tornado Shot look like right now? Fires 3 secondary projectiles. And it doesn't do anything else. Is this a Tornado Shot buff? Like, is this a Tornado Shot buff? Did they unironically buff Tornado Shot? That's insane to me, bro. That's insane to me. Cause like the secondary projectiles are huge for this ability. Like more secondary projectiles is actually insane here. Because the difference between having the enchant and not having the enchant is nuts on this ability. Replaces 15 dev helmet. Yeah, like this is crazy. Yo, that league start, like not league start, that Ruse take on Tornado Shot might be nuts potentially. Did that require tattoos? I can't remember if it needed tattoos or not. Only if you're getting 40 quality is it a buff. Ashes. You used Combs, didn't it? Did Combs' gloves get destroyed? I don't know that yet. Don't spoil. Toxic Rain. On Earth, don't care. Vengeance, Venom Gyre. Rue, Combs' gloves got destroyed. Rue is crying in the corner, dude. Every single build that he made used those gloves. They deleted 90% of Rue's build, dude. The cat is crying in the corner. All right, maximum caught projectiles, interesting. Hyper Strike, Void Sphere, Volatile, Volcanic Fissure has additional projectiles, pretty good. Vortex now has a 0.750 second cast time and no longer has a cooldown time. It can no longer be cast on Frostbolt projectiles. They buffed the damage slightly. Oh, they actually buffed the damage a lot. The high-end damage is way higher. I don't know. Vortex not being instant? Log out, kinda. Vortex Ignite, though. This is pretty huge. Vortex Ignite is a huge buff. Look at that base damage. It's so high. Cast on crit Vortex? Yeah, I mean, pretty big for not self-cast. Like, normal self-cast Vortex is dog shit now. Because you can't put it on left click anymore. Withering Sap. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. Are any of these decent? I don't see anything good here. It's lower, not higher? Wait. Oh, it got nerfed. Oh. I didn't expect them to nerf the fuck out of it. Wait, what? For some reason, I thought that it was higher. Wait, what? It no longer has a cooldown time. Since it doesn't have a cooldown, I don't know if this is a nerf or not. You can scale it with cast speed now. But it can't explode from Frostbolt projectiles anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Most of these Vol Gems I don't care too much about. These are kind of whatever. Don't see anything here. Yeah, it's just a bunch of whatever. Support gem changes. Targets, Blissa Totem. There's just so many changes in this, dude. I don't know that I care about any of this. None of these look that crazy. Like Fire Trap, I did earlier. It didn't look crazy different. They just like added its ability to like proc bigger or something. You skipped Winter Orb. Oh, I don't care about Winter Orb. Was Winter Orb good? Winter Orb. Quality now provides 2 maximum stages. Cool. Yeah, I don't care about Winter Orb. I never liked that ability. That was just the old helmet enchant? Yo, yay. Alright, yay is here. Yay. My brother. Have you read this? My guy, did you read Splitting Steel? No more Call of Steel. No more steel shards. Projectiles deal more damage. And it got an attack speed multiplier. Seems pretty good, dude. Splitting Steel login. The other two, bye. Poison, Splitting Steel, legit, I guess. 90% attack speed multiplier base. I'm not sure. Not sure about Poison, Splitting Steel. But yeah, maybe. All right, do we care about any of this? Most of this looks bad. The base quality on most of these didn't really do anything. Okay. Yep. Hinacore Death's Fury now causes enemies you or your totems kill to have a 5% chance to explode, dealing 5% of their maximum life as fire damage. Huh. Interesting. Totems now work for it as well. Too bad you don't take totems on that. Passive tree mastery stats that previously granted increased accuracy now instead grant more accuracy. Ooh, nice. The previous versions were not functioning correctly. Fog, dude. Yeah, Ghost thing got destroyed. Oh, they made it so the destructive play you can just kill the boss. Holy fuck. Yo. Ashes? Yikes, my dude. Yeah, hikes, my guy. Whew, well, I mean, it's still going to be really strong for a couple of reasons. Like, it's still going to be really strong. But, oh, that's big, dude. All right. Heat Shiver now has gained 30% of cold damage, extra fire damage against frozen enemies. Yikes. Yikes. Good night, this fucking terrible, horrible item. I fucking hate you, and I hope you burn in the pits of fucking hell. I fucking hated Heat Shiver and everything about it. I hated that fucking helmet, dude. It was such a dumb helmet, dude. This helmet made it so that you could literally take physical scaled abilities and just convert them to cold, and they were better. God, I hated this helmet, dude. I'm so glad that this is just destroyed now. Replica Dragon Fang just kind of got generally nerfed. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Comb Spirit regenerate 1 rage per 300. Ooh, that's bad. That's bad, my guy. All right, that is bad. Ruthless patch notes. Tornado shot nerf. We had a tornado shot buff, dude. Fuck. Most of the rest, that's fine. Okay. Fire damage taken per second while flame touch on the annihilation's approach is a bit too high for a unique item. Such we have updated these boots to 6,000. I don't care, dude. Attacks with the Ephemeral Edge unique sword now have added maximum lightning damage equal to 20% of player maximum energy shield. Ephemeral Edge unique sword. Loss of Enchant is pretty big TS nerf. It comes back in the quality, right? Like you just have, it's just built into the quality now. Let me see. Tornado Shot PoE. Let me see what the helmet enchant was previously. Was it 2 additional projectiles? What was the helmet enchant? Yeah, no, Tornado Shot's just better now. Because Tornado Shot previously was fires an additional secondary projectile. Now it's just in the quality of it. Like you just have it, it just saves you a 15 divine helmet enchant. Yeah, it's just crazy now. Attacks with Ephemeral Edge now have added maximum lightning damage equal to 20% of player maximum energy shield. Can no longer scale off a minion's maximum energy shield. Oh, they just added players. Was this broken? Did somebody break that? Ooh. Wow, Ralakesh's got destroyed for the discharge builds. Yeah, all interesting uses of this are just completely gone. That's crazy. Could have an Animate Guardian hit for 20 million. Nice, dude. Replica Bones of Allure now cost Summon Phantasms and Raging Spirits have a 10% chance to refresh their duration when they hit a rare unique enemy. Previously just unique. Okay. You are at maximum chance to block spell damage. Huh. Replica Perfect Form, it no longer provides 10 to 15% dexterity, life, hollow palm, or causes flesh and stone reservation. It now provides versatile combatant and 20% chance to block attack damage. Huh? So it doesn't have dexterity. It doesn't have life. It doesn't have flesh and stone anymore, and it gives you the most dogshit notable on the entire fucking tree? Why would you ever use this? Whoa, why would you ever use that item, bro? Huh? Okay, I guess. Replica Bitter Dream now causes Socket of Gems to be supported by level 15 elemental penetration. Interesting. Provides Culling Strike against frozen enemies. I guess that's cool. Hinakora's Lock can no longer foresee the result of corrupting an item at the altar of corruption. Yikes. I mean, that's a standard only item, right? Like that's not gonna be in the base game, so that's just like telling standard to go fuck themselves. That's kind of funny. Maven releases all bosses at once can roll in invitations again. Wow, they got rid of like all of the bases, dude. All right. 15 maximum rage, 20 maximum rage, extra fizz damage. Bone Cleaver now is 30% of maximum quality. Wow, a lot of these qualities are crazy. Like Apex Cleaver has 40 to maximum quality. Huh. Those are the level 30 bases, still worse than Despot Axe. Really? Checked in POB? That sucks. Alright, whatever. Reduce the cooldown of triggered fiery impact. More crit. 2 endurance power or frenzy charges. Let's look at the amulets. Where are the amulets? Those are the belts. Ring. Now has 25% increased suffix modifier magnitudes. Okay, so we saw basically the good one, which is this one. Vanishing Blade. 1.4 attacks per second and 6.5 crit. That is pretty good, yeah. Most of the rest of these are kind of whatever. Ruthless specific changes. Thanks for putting that in there, bro. I'm not gonna look at it though. Thanks. Foundry map boss fight has been adjusted now that it is a single boss fight. The health of Sirgan, Shadow Alchemist, has been increased. Can I use Corpse Rain skill? Oh no, dude. Yikes, brother. So we got Torment, Anarchy, Ambush, Beyond, Blight, Expedition, and Ultimatum. These are the only 2 good ones, right? Ambush is okay. Yeah, Expedition and Ultimatum are basically the only good ones. Ambush is okay. So Ambush, Expedition, and Ultimatum. That guy's easily one of the worst bosses. They took out his, like, secondary guy. Beyond? Yeah, Omega lol. Hovering the crate button. Yeah, I don't care about that. You can now shift-click on faded items in your main inventory to remove them from the trade and sell windows. Shift-click currency. I'm so glad that you can do this now. Like, I'm so glad you can do this. Blight? Yeah. Stealing the currency out of my fucking wallet is what that's doing. Fix some incorrect behavior with the spacing of spell cascade with curse skills. Yeah, so that was... we knew there was going to be destroyed, and it did. Fix bug where projectiles from skills supported by returning projectiles were only dealing less damage with hits while returning. They now also deal less damage with ailments while returning. Oh, damn, dude. Oh, that kind of sucks. Poison splitting steel is actually dog shit now. Yeah, poison splitting steel is actually dog shit now. I was thinking that it might be okay with the change to splitting steel, but now it's just dog shit. It's just actual garbage. Okay, well, unfortunate. Fix a bug where player minions would take no damage. Okay. Mage blood could cause other players' flask effects applied to you through Soul Link to be infinite. What the fuck? Fix a bug where Arc was not able to chain back to targets it had previously hit. Wait. What? Fixed a bug where Arc was not able to chain back to targets it had previously hit. It still cannot chain to a target immediately after chaining from it. Oh, so 3 enemies Arc is good? Okay. Okay. Fix a bug where triggered actions looking for something to target, such as a skill supported by Mana Forge arrows, could pick things you don't have line of sight for. Okay. I'm just looking for them fixing stuff. Fix a bug where Vol Volcanic Fissure stated exploded one less time than it did. Interesting. Fix the bug where the Misery and Darkness Divination card, Sanctum. I don't see anything about Snipe. Do they not know? I don't see anything about Snipe, dude. Oh no, dude, do they not know? Oh no, dude. Okay, that's it. We went through the patch notes. I'm gonna go make a video on it. What's with Snipe? Does somebody have the link? Does somebody have the link? Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I had to download a video. Hold on. No snitching? No, I'm fucking snitching, dude. Hold on. I remember I had to download a video. I'm fucking snitching, dude. This shit is broken as fuck and doesn't need to be in the game. Look at this shit, okay? Look at this. So the way that this works is that you get just enough mana regen where you can only channel for like one little channel, right? And then what it means is that like you run out of mana and it makes it so that it just procs infinite times. Look at this, dude. Like, this is fucking insane, bro. There's nothing mentioned about it. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm about to end stream. Okay, I gotta go eat and then I'm gonna make a video. Appreciate you, boys. Probably, I'm gonna be honest, probably the next stream that you're gonna see from me is most likely, earliest, gonna be like League Start. I'm just gonna focus on videos I'm gonna focus on other stuff. If you want to interact with me in any way and see what's going on, go to Discord. Thank you for all the follows, the bits, all donos, all love, support. Thank you for all the subs, dude. Appreciate you guys. I'll stream a decent amount on League Start, but I'm not gonna be. I'm going to I guess I'll say it here. I'm not going to be streaming consistently every single day, probably ever again. It just doesn't work for me. I've tried doing other things over the course of the last couple of leagues, but I'm just going through with the full plan of I'm just not streaming every day anymore. It's just not happening. I've just noticed that it just drains way too much of my existence. I will stream occasionally, meaning when I have something cool to stream, I will stream it. Like if I finish a build and I put out like a video talking about the build, I'll stream it the next day and show it off and just hang out and do stuff, right? If I have like a big strategy thing that I'm testing, like I want to test like however many of this, maybe I'll stream it. So I'll probably stream once or twice a week, probably at most. You're shaving that off of your face? No, dude. Maybe I'll make a sub goal for that, okay? But yeah, I'm probably gonna stream like once or twice a week, maybe 3 times at most, but I'm just gonna focus on videos. As for build guides, I don't know, I might try to do splitting steel, dude. That's kind of crazy that it got changed. Right now the plan is SRS Guardian, potentially Blade Vortex. Poison Blade Vortex looks like it's gonna be good. It got a slight buff. I'm most likely, the thing I've been working on is most people are transitioning their lightning arrows to a mana forge setup instead of ballistas, and I'm doing the same. It seems like from what I've been looking around, from what people have been doing, while you level, you use Blast Rain and Storm Rain, I think is what it's called. I don't remember the name of it. But you use those instead of using ballistas, and I don't know that it's exactly as much damage, but it feels so much better to play. So my POB on that is going to get pretty heavily updated to probably have mostly Mana Forged Arrows like setups. I'll probably put out Bone Shatter again. Bone Shatter essentially got 0 changes. It's just going to be a copy paste guide. Like I'll just put it up. Nothing really changed about Bone Shatter, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's probably it. So SRS Guardian, most likely. Bone Shatter, Lightning Arrow, Poison Blade Vortex. It's probably all I can really manage at this point. I don't know if I can do another one. Arrow PP without the ballista sounds great. Yeah, let me show you real quick. For people who haven't seen it yet, I'll just log in real quick actually. I've been doing a little bit of a test. I'm only level 42, but I'll at least show you real quick. This is basically the setup that everyone else has been using, right? Like this isn't anything novel or anything, but the idea is that you do a lightning arrow, normal links, right? Like whatever, but you do Mana Forged Arrows, Blast Rain, Storm Rain, and Life Tap, right? And it just makes it so that it procs 1 on every single attack, yeah? So it procs 1 on every single attack, and what that ends up looking like, keep in mind this is like a League Start test, but like what it ends up looking like is you just do a bunch of fucking damage, and you don't really have to worry about putting down ballistas or any of that garbage. Something that I want to toy around with a little bit is I kind of want to do something along the lines of putting a Mirror Arrow in a Mana Forge setup. I'm kind of giving away a little bit of the secret sauce right now, but you know, I like you guys more than everybody else. That's fine. I'm kind of tossing around the idea of putting some Mirror Arrows in a Mana Forge setup to be like little like tanks, kind of, to just make things a little bit easier. And I have to see like what happens with like the alt qualities now, because I was gonna suggest like +2 cooldowns on the alt quality thing, so that, you know, it would like spawn a whole bunch of them and like bosses would focus on those instead of fighting you, and then you'd have some like little totems in front of you basically. But we'll see what happens with that now. I'm not 100% certain. So I was gonna mess around with that, but yeah, I mean the playstyle is way smoother with that, right? Like that looked way better than popping down ballistas and everything else. Only thing is it sucks really bad early game. You still have to use Siege Ballista. Early game. I tried doing like Burning Arrow, and I tried doing like Burning Arrow and Puncture in the very, very early game, and you don't get life tap as the ranger, which I don't know why not, but you don't get life tap as the ranger. You don't get it until Act 3. So yeah, the ballistas early don't feel bad. You just drop siege ballistas and they just do their own thing, right? You don't get it till Act 3. If you did want to kill yourself constantly, you could have somebody give you life tap, like someone who's a duelist, a marauder, a templar, or a scion could just give you life tap early, like a friend or someone like that. They could give you life tap early, and you could just life tap it, but you would die. Like it would cost so much of your life. You'd have to run vitality most likely. But yeah, once you get to the point, like you can start doing it in Act 3. Like at the very end of Act 3, you can start being just like no ballistas if you want. You can still have ballistas if you want them, if you have some extra slots, but it just feels way better. So I'll probably do that and the other little stuff that I was talking about with like Mirror Arrow and things like that. It should be interesting. But yeah, probably next time that you guys will see me is most likely League Start Day. I'm only going to stream for a couple hours on League Start Day because I am keeping my sleep schedule consistent. I said I'd talk about like what's going on with my life stuff real quick if you guys care about parasocial weirdness. I have fixed my sleep schedule for the most part. I'm almost done, honey. I've fixed my sleep schedule for the most part. It's mostly fixed. It's not completely fixed, but it's mostly fixed. I am finally losing weight at like an actual good pace, and it's not just like random drastic weight loss with me gaining weight again. I'm actually like kind of losing weight at a normal pace. The sleep thing. I told you guys about some of the changes that I was making to like getting sunlight and all those kinds of things. So yeah, I have sleeping problems, as a lot of you guys might know, like tons of sleeping problems, right? I've basically always had tons of sleeping problems. And they're not that big, Devil. I've lost 12 pounds in the last month and a half. I was getting pretty up there for various reasons. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me talk about sleep first. So I've been running again in the morning. Since I got my sleep schedule fixed, I can wake up at the same exact time in the morning every day, meaning that I can get up when it's not disgustingly hot. So I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm out running at 7, right? So I get sun in the morning basically every morning now. So I'm doing that. I'm doing all the other normal stuff, but I've added a shitload of supplements. If you don't know about Andrew Huberman, he's professor of ophthalmology and like biology at Stanford. You guys have probably heard of Huberman at this point. He's made the rounds. But he has a bunch of supplements, as well as some that what's that guy's name? Atia and Matthew Walker. I've been reading a lot of what they've been saying, and the supplement list that I'm doing is basically like the full one that Huberman suggests. So I'm taking apigenin. Apigenin is basically the stuff that is in chamomile tea. I'm taking inositol. This is normally a supplement that women use for menstrual problems. It's basically just a sugar. What this does is it helps, you know how sometimes like you wake up in the middle of the night and you have trouble going back to sleep? This helps with that a lot. As soon as I started taking this, I noticed that if I woke up in the middle of the night, I could fall back asleep within like 2 minutes, like no problem. So that helps that a lot. I'm taking magnesium. I think most people are probably deficient in magnesium. I'm taking the L-threonate version, apparently better. I don't fucking know. L-theanine, this is the one that actually like made me be able to sleep. This gives you crazy fucking dreams. I never remember my dreams for more than 5 minutes after waking up, but I know that they're crazier. It gives you crazy fucking dreams. If you remember your dreams, you have to be careful with L-theanine. This is the thing that actually like made me start sleeping a little bit better. I take glycine. Glycine and GABA are the two that these are the two like heavy hitters that I put in towards the end that basically if I'm like having trouble sleeping, these two actually helped quite a bit. But yeah, those are the supplements I take now, and I tested them. Like I tried using them and I tried not using them, and I did notice the effects. So I'm taking all of those now, and my sleep is mostly fixed. Between those couple of things, going from like this horrible rotating sleep schedule that I had for a period of time where I was basically staying up for like 26 to 27 hours, like that was my sleep period, right? Your liver to get its chaos res up. None of these are really the cool thing about the supplements that Huberman suggests is that these are all kind of supplements that don't cause problems. Right now, where most of like the health like focus is going at this point is that you're basically focusing on things that your body already needs. It just might be deficient in, or say for example, if there's like precursors to something, right? So like your body can take one thing and make it into another thing, right? Basically, you give your body ample amounts of the precursor supplement, whatever that might be, that allows it to create the other thing. And it doesn't cause like any toxicity or anything like that, right? It's just like giving your body more of the things that it already needs that aren't like heavy bad for liver or anything like that. So that's pretty good. I've been taking the only other supplement that I've been taking is NMN. I don't take this for like longevity or anything. I take it because it makes me feel better when I'm running. Basically counteracting the deficiencies of the 21st century lifestyle. Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, I wake up at 6 a.m. now. I go to bed at about like 8 or 9-ish, and I wake up at like 5 or 6-ish in the morning. Pretty consistently. I don't need an alarm. Sometimes I use an alarm if I have to stay up late for some reason, but I wake up with no alarm, and I wake up consistently every day. I can pretty much fall asleep consistently every day, and I have almost no issues. So that's been pretty good. It's been working pretty well. I feel so much better after being able to sleep. It's insane how much better I feel after being able to sleep. Like it's night and day. It's fixed essentially all of my problems, and everything is kind of like falling into place now that I can actually fucking sleep. So yeah, like now that I can sleep, all the other stuff is coming together. My weight, I ballooned quite a bit again, as you guys probably noticed. My sleep was fucked up, so I couldn't really run. It sucks to run at like 2 o'clock in the morning because there's like all kinds of bugs out. And like the places that I like to run have like spiders everywhere, and it's just miserable and wet and hot in Florida at nighttime. Like it's just miserable. And the only good time to run in Florida is right as the sun is coming up, right? Titties look smaller a little bit. The only good time to run in Florida is right when the sun's coming up, because all of that moisture that's on the ground and in the environment is evaporating. And it's basically the same way that like humans cool themselves. Like we sweat and then the sweat evaporates. It makes us cooler. Same thing happens to like the ground and the environment outside right at that time. So now I can wake up at that time and run at that time every day. So everything's just kind of falling in place. Running is making like me lose weight and feel better. Since you sleep better, you might have noticed a better running performance. Yeah, a little bit. But it's making it so I can lose weight. Another big thing that's making it so that I can lose weight is I have a sweet tooth, right? Like a pretty bad one, and it's kind of genetic, honestly. Like my dad and his whole entire side of the family have problems with sweet stuff, right? So my dad used to smoke, right? Like most of my dad's side of the family has issues with cigarettes, drugs, or sugar, right? It's mostly all three, to be honest with you. Addiction demons run horribly in the blood of my dad's side of the family. And when my dad gave up smoking, he replaced it with sugar. All of my dad's side all fucking love the fuck out of sugar, and I do too. And one thing about it is that whenever I get these like horrific, horrible cravings for sugar just all the time. And one big thing that changed is that I kind of had told you guys before about this thing called allulose, right? And allulose was, it originally started coming out in a liquid form. That's what it was first available as. And allulose is a sugar replacement that's made out of corn. So it's cheap. It's actually like pretty cheap. It's not as cheap as sugar, but it's made out of corn. It has 0 calories and 0 GI problems, right? Like 0. Like I don't have any discomfort. Whenever I tried using like erythritol or any of that other shit, my stomach was in shambles, dude. I was in that fucking bathroom 24/7 when I was like using alternate sugar sources, right? All of them fucked my stomach up. Allulose, 0, right? Actually 0 side effects, like my stomach and everything else. And it's 0 calories. So I can eat. The thing I've been making are these like giant fucking muffins that are like this big. Like they're massive, dude. And they're as sweet as like a normal muffin that you would like that you would get like a sweet, super sweet muffin from the store, and like a third of the calories because all of the sugar is 0 calorie, right? And I can get them to be like 30 or 40 grams of protein. So much easier to maintain all the rest of the shit that I do when all of the sugar that I consume has 0 calories, right? Super nice. That has helped me a ton. And I'm like consistently losing weight. I'm losing like a pound or 2 a week. It's not, you know, all this other crazy shit, right? So, because there was a point in time where I was losing like massive amounts of weight, but it wasn't good. Baking stream win. It's not really fun to watch them be baked. It's kind of like a science experiment, to be honest with you. But maybe at some point, I don't know. But that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm still bald. I'm just lazy. I haven't been shaving my head. I shave my head like once every 2 or 3 weeks. As you might have noticed, the beard is a lot longer now. I bought a beard straightener because it was kind of getting insane. But man, my ears are red as fuck, dude, from wearing these headphones. Look at this shit. Look at all that blood in my ears, bro. Holy shit. Looking like I've been out in the fucking frost, but like my beard is a lot longer. You know, like it's quite a bit longer. But it was getting pretty unruly, so I bought a beard straightener, and I just put it through that, and it's worked a decent amount. It's worked a decent amount, so the beard's getting longer. Eventually, I don't know, we'll see how long I take the beard. We'll see. I have no idea. Most of this is laziness, because I can't be fucked doing all this shit all the time. The reason why my hair looked fucking crazy years ago when I had hair is because I didn't want to get it cut. I was just lazy. So yeah, I shave my head like every 2 weeks or so. Other than that, nothing else to really talk about. That's like the parasocial update for all the Andes who care. Appreciate you, boys. If I mailed you a ZZ Top cosplay, I don't know, dude. Maybe one day. I can't smoke weed, unfortunately. I have anxiety disorder. I have generalized anxiety disorder, but weed actually makes me more anxious. I can lose 3 pounds a week with the ECA stack, but taking the drug induced anxiety is not worth it. Yeah, I feel you there. So yeah, you guys will get more videos. I'm not going to say more videos, but I'm saying higher quality videos. I think the quality of that Guardian video was a decent amount up from what I had been doing recently, but the videos should be a little bit higher quality, and there'll probably be slightly more of them. But streaming it's just been too much. If you want to hang out with me and like whatever else like we do here and talk and stuff, join the Discord. I've been more active in the Discord recently because that's just more easy. It's like easier for me to handle. So yeah, that's gonna be it though, boys. Appreciate the subs, appreciate the follows, all the everything. Thank you. Sub to the YouTube, follow the stream, as you most already have already. And take care, boys. And I'll see you all later, gamers. And make sure to pet Duckless in the chat on the way out. He's been quite lonely recently.